Chapter 647. Xuanhuan was a handsome and resolute soldier. He was more serious than Qin Fian when he spoke. "Grandpa, if we intervene in this matter, my brother will do it alone. It will be easier for him to get into trouble. It's not like you don't know his temper. He did this because he couldn't take it lying down. If you want to talk about taking the big picture into consideration, we've already taken the big picture into consideration." Jianghu was the last to speak this time. He looked at Qin Rongfang's reproachful eyes and said, "Grandpa, if you want to blame someone, you can only blame me. It has nothing to do with Fian and Haozi. Because of that matter, my life has been completely messed up. I should have gone back to Jianghu district to officiate the wedding, but I didn't go back. The family isn't peaceful and I can't even devote myself to work. Ouyang Xing went to the building to threaten me. Actually, after being threatened by him, I thought about the situation in Haiqing and tolerated it if I could. The problem was that I couldn't tolerate the series of things that happened after that." Qin Rongfang knew that the situation was irreversible. In the past few months, the family Ouyang had encountered major problems one after another. There were product quality issues, illegal buildings being demolished, financial deficits being reported in advance, share prices plummeting, capital chain problems, workers going on strike, and recently, even the project with the Zhuo family had problems. The family Ouyang couldn't get a loan, and Ouyang Yu couldn't use his connections to help Ouyang Jian get a loan. They couldn't continue working with the Zhuo family. The termination of the contract was considered a breach of contract, but when something happened when the project was about to end, the Zhuo family was the one who benefited. The outside world couldn't see anything fishy, but he knew his grandson's roundabout methods and methods. "You're a man. What can't you tolerate? Didn't I ask you to marry Ouyang Yan before the divorce? Then wouldn't it be better to avoid trouble? Grandpa, is it possible to solve this matter by avoiding unnecessary trouble? Must you ruin Ouyang Sheng's reputation, and then the matter between you and that girl from the Yun family will be resolved. Even if it can't be resolved, I have to do this." Jiang Zhao's tone was calm at first, but it became more and more unyielding. He seemed to have forgotten that he was talking to an extremely prestigious elder. Qin Rongfang patted his chest. "I'm so angry." Qin Fian reached out and patted Qin Rongfang's back. He knew that his grandfather was exaggerating a little, so he did the same. The action of patting the back was big and light, so it was useless. "Grandpa, it's not that I want to criticize you, but being the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce is indeed a good thing. Can't you just sit there with your back straight and not feel guilty? Now, someone is saying that the Qin family is having a family Ouyang? Did anyone say that I was taking revenge? No one said that, so why are you so anxious?" Seeing that Qin Rongfang was so anxious, Qin Fian smiled and continued, "Besides, we are your grandsons. What kind of deep friendship do you have with Ouyang Sheng? You have a good relationship with the Shi family, so when Unwu stole the land I wanted, I didn't even spare a fart. That's different, isn't it?" Qin Rongfang glared at Qin Fian. "Stop patting, it's worse than scratching an itch." Qin Fian raised his hand. Fine, I'm sorry, Grandpa. Zhao, where it's possible to make mistakes, let it go." "Let it go? Give him a chance to come back from the dead and retaliate?" Jiang Zhao chuckled lightly. "Grandpa, I never thought of letting it go." Qin Fian recklessly interjected, "Grandpa, I'll support brother to the end. Why don't you go abroad to relax? What the eye doesn't see, the heart doesn't grieve over." Xuanhuan agreed. "Grandpa, why don't you pick a place with better scenery to relax? You bunch of stinks. Kid. I've already said so much and you still don't know how to repent." "Grandpa, I don't think I've done anything wrong, so I don't want to change." Jiang Zhao leaned back. His voice was light, but his gaze was firm. Qin Fian added, "Grandpa, as the saying goes, don't do to others what you don't want done to you. Don't tell me you encountered something like this in the past? Would you have tolerated it? In any case, I don't think brother did anything wrong. If you don't like it, just turn a blind eye and pretend you don't know." Qin Rongfang closed his eyes. "It's easier for me to just close my eyes. Then the three of us will send you back to your room to rest. All of you leave. We'll take our leave." Qin Fian stood up with a smile and gestured to Jiang Zhao and Xuanhuan. The three of them left the hall. Xuanhuan patted Jiang Zhao's shoulder and said somewhat mockingly, "Brother, about this matter, I actually think you were a little too harsh. Ouyang Sheng was so angry that he was hospitalized again. There are even blisters on his mouth." Jiang Zhao laughed. "I wasn't the only one who did it. You were the one who was the most ruthless. Don't forget, the Zhuo family is the one who really profited. I remember you told me before that you wanted to ask Big Brother Jiang to build a 7-star hotel for him. Look at how anxious you are now. He keeps spitting out money and it doesn't even go into your pocket. It's not worth it. Qin Fian bumped into Jiang Zhao. We can't wait. If we want to do it flawlessly, it'll take too long to contact him. Brother, you said that even Grandpa noticed it. How can Ouyang Xing not notice it? Zhuahao was a little worried. He stopped in the courtyard and looked sideways at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao shook his head. If he had guessed it, with his arrogant and conceited personality, he would have made a fuss long ago. Didn't we set up so many smoke bombs and side projects to cause him to be confused? He's probably suspecting the provincial party committee now. Moreover, Dad acquiesced to this matter and covered for me, so Ouyang Xing can't be that sensitive. Qin Fian pushed up his glasses and laughed. At critical times, Grandpa is not as forthright as uncle-in-law. As soon as Qin Fian finished speaking, something hit him in the back. Before he could turn around, Qin Rongfang walked over quickly. Little bastard, how dare you speak ill of me behind my back? Qin Fian took a step to hide behind Jiang Zhao. Qin Rongfang pointed at his nose and scolded, if you don't give birth to a child of the Qin family by next year, I won't strip you naked. You'll be hung at Haiqing's toll booth for public display. Jiang Zhao had heard Qin Rongfang say this more than once. He held the old man's shoulder and suggested in a friendly manner, Grandpa, why don't I help you contact the art school's teachers and say that they'll let Fian's body be a model for the students and charge them some money? Who knows, maybe they can even make a fortune. Maybe people from other places will come because of your reputation. Qin Fian pretended to be angry and said, brothers are used to betray others, aren't they? Qin Rongfang didn't continue this topic. Zhao Ouyang Xing isn't easy to deal with. If he finds out that you're messing with him behind his back, his connections aren't to be trifled with. I know things are almost done. This time Ouyang Xing is under investigation. Once the bank connection is cut, it'll be difficult for him to even think about it. Ouyang Xing just moved his company to another city before the new year. Ouyang Hai has no one who can really help him. Qin Rongfang sighed. Ask that girl from the Yun family to come over often for dinner. I'll ask Qin Zhen to persuade her another day. It'll be easier for women to talk when they're together. Okay. The next day Qingming Festival. Jiang Zhao left the house early. The radio kept talking about Qingming Festival. She was thinking about what gift to buy for Yi Er that night. However, just as Yi Er picked up her bag and was about to leave, the doorbell rang. She opened the door and felt disgusted. What are you doing here? I'm looking for second brother. What's the matter? I'm pregnant. Yi Er tightened her grip on the handbag, feeling a little breathless. She hurriedly turned around to hide her expression from Ouyang Yan's eyes. She placed her handbag on the counter in the shoe-changing area, opened it and took out her makeup bag. She stood up straight and looked at the small mirror in her hand to reapply her eyebrows and lips. However, when she saw that her face in the mirror had gained some color, she thought about the credit card that belonged to Jiang Zhao on the cash register yesterday. She bit down on her heart, but she quickly calmed down on the surface. She casually took out her phone and dialed a number. She said gently, "Hello, hubby. Your mistress is waiting for you at home. Do you want to book a couple's private room? It's so hard to book a table today." When Jiang Zhao received the call and heard Yi Er call him hubby, he was stunned and smiled like a happy child in front of Lu Cheng, who was still reporting work. However, what she said next made his expression turn colder and colder. He propped up his chin at Lu Cheng and gestured for him to leave. The woman's voice on the phone was still smiling like a spring breeze, but he could hear the stiffness in her voice. "You're going to be a father. Are you excited? Your mistress has brought you and her baby here to look for you." "Yunyi, what nonsense are you talking about?" "What mistress? She was fine this morning." "Ouyang Yan, isn't she your mistress?" "But a mother's status rises because of her son. I'm afraid she won't be your mistress soon. She'll be Mrs. Jiang, right? I have something to do today. I'm hanging up." Jiang Zhao's throat was on fire and he couldn't make a sound. When he took a sip of water and was about to speak, Yi Er had already hung up. When he called again, her phone was turned off. Yi Er hung up the phone and smiled at Ouyang Yan, who was standing at the door. "Oh, how should I address you? Mistress, miss? My husband will probably be back soon. Wait for him at the door." After packing up her bag, she realized that Ouyang Yan was still staring at her with a smile on her face. Her smile was like spring water, so gentle that it made one want to hold it in their hands and drink it into their stomach. The corners of her mouth were slightly curled up. She was the perfect example of a lady from a wealthy family. No one could find any flaws in her. This green TB*TCH had always been AB*TCH like a jasmine flower. Ouyang Yan wanted to enter the door, but Yi Er pushed her and closed the door. He stood at the door and glanced at Ouyang, who staggered and leaned against the wall. He sneered and said, "Be careful. This house was under my name when I bought it. This is a single-story villa. The place you're standing now is my territory. You came to my house without my invitation. Are you trying to steal something?" "Steal?" Ouyang slowly stood up straight and regained her composure. However, she suddenly smiled mockingly. "Do I need to? Yes, it's my nature." Yi brushed past Ouyang. "I have something to do. You can wait here." Ouyang didn't expect Yi to react so indifferently after finding out that she was pregnant. "Yunyi, is it fun for you to hold on to Jianghu like this? Things have already come to this point. Don't you feel guilty for holding on to the title of Mrs. Jiang? Now that I'm pregnant with his child, what do you think?" Yi was about to walk to the elevator. She admitted that she was angry with Ouyang. However, when she hit Ouyang last time and Jianghu was whipped, she knew that her impulsiveness had caused the Qin and Jiang families to be threatened by the Ouyang family. This time she wouldn't be so foolish. The elders of the two families didn't do anything to her. She didn't need to make them angry. Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 648. Even so, there was a limit to her patience. She turned around and glanced at Ouyang's abdomen. Then she looked at her face and sneered, "What am I afraid of? I'm not pregnant. If I really get divorced, I'll still marry a good man. What about you? Are you so sure that I'll get divorced? Actually, I'm thinking right now. I won't get divorced even if I die. I'll let you bear a big belly until you give birth. As a single mother, what's so great about being able to give birth? Any woman can give birth as long as her body functions are normal. Can you give birth to a rare egg?" Yi stared at Ouyang's belly again and sneered, "But I see that you really can only give birth to eggs when you're with a human." Ouyang held her head. Too many things had happened at home recently, and she had been dealing with them all the time. Now that Yi had scolded her inhumane, she was annoyed and angry. "You can't even give birth to an egg." Yi saw that Ouyang was a little angry. This woman changed so quickly. In the past, when they stood together, she really couldn't see any changes in Ouyang's mood. Now that she was angry, it was so obvious. Why did she feel so happy to see this woman angry? "Haha, it's not that I can't give birth to a child. I'm different from you. I'm too young and don't want to give birth at all. We haven't even spent enough time together. Wouldn't it be troublesome to give birth to a child? I'm different from you. You'll be lonely if you're alone. You're not like me. I have a husband to eat with, chat with, sleep with, and travel with my husband every day. If you don't give birth to an egg and come out to play, I'm afraid you'll go crazy and jump off a building." Yi didn't continue talking to Ouyang. She was just showing off. This woman was more sophisticated than her. She was no match for Ouyang at all. If she stayed any longer, she would be the one who would be angry. She ignored Ouyang and pressed the elevator button to leave. Ouyang was really angry at Yi's words. Seeing the elevator door close, her watery eyes became as cold as a knife. She gritted her teeth and felt that she had always been too dignified. That was why she was defeated by Yunyi. Jianghu had loved her before, but she, who had always been cautious, was not as free and easy as Yunyi. Men liked the new and hated the old. Jianghu must have felt that a woman like Yunyi was fresh and exciting. She couldn't understand the so-called true nature of a man, but she knew that men were not good people. They were all eating from the bowl and looking at the pot. When Ouyang left 9th Mansion, she received a call from Jianghu. "Ouyang, what the hell are you doing? Second brother?" Ouyang slowed down the car and laughed to herself. "Ouyang, have you forgotten that you've always called me Yunyun? Do you want to die? Who told you to look for her?" It was just a light mockery, but when he stepped on the brakes, it turned into a guffaw. He laughed until tears came out of his eyes. She could hear the man's heavy breathing, and she could hear the sound of his teeth grinding. Since she was young, she had never seen Jianghu angry. Although many people said that Jianghu was not easy to get along with, and although he treated people well, he was actually a little cold and arrogant. Even so, Jianghu treated her well and was almost obedient. When they were young, she was the princess that everyone worshipped. After they got together, she was the princess in his hands. He had never lost his temper and shouted at her. He even viciously said that she wanted to die, didn't she? When Yunyi hit her, not only did he not help, he even grabbed her hand and let Yunyi hit her. After so long, he didn't ask if she was doing well, but asked if she wanted to die. Laughter, cries, and the sound of falling tears. Even if Ouyang cried, she had never cried like this before. Jianghu had already returned to mansion number 9, but there was no one at home. He called Yi's cell phone, but she didn't pick up. When he called the store, the clerk who went there early said that the boss hadn't gone to work yet. It wasn't easy for him to calm down his life, but now it was a mess. He felt that God had made things for him, testing his endurance time and time again. Do you only have Yunyi in your heart now? But I'm pregnant with your child. What should I do? Ah. Ouyang Yen cried and laughed as she covered her mouth. Do you want to abandon your debt and live happily ever after with Yunyi? Are you dreaming? I won't do as you wish. That's great, that's great. Yunyi must hate you to death. Why do I feel so comfortable? Ouyang Yen wanted to continue, but Jiang Zhao hung up. Jiang Zhao was worried that something would happen to Yi Er, but he wouldn't let anything happen to her. The first thing he should do now was to find her. Yi Er went to the dance studio. She needed to find something to do. She couldn't think about Ouyang Yan's pregnancy. That provocative gaze flashed in front of her, and the dark brown horsewhip lashed out in the air, causing her heart to palpitate with fear reverberating in her ears. Jiang Zhao worked from Monday to Friday. Occasionally he would work overtime on weekends. She basically knew his schedule. When he was free he would accompany her at home. The two of them would also go to the movies. Although they slept in separate rooms during this period, she felt that their relationship was becoming more normal. They were no longer like before where they wanted to win or lose in everything. Most of the time he would give in to her. Occasionally he would get a little angry, but if that was the case she would give in to him. At the end of the day neither of them wanted a divorce. Even if she minded that matter she still couldn't bear to part with him. Especially when she felt how good he was to her. Sleeping in separate rooms must have made him hungry, right? In the past she knew that if a man didn't have enough to eat at home, he would go out to eat. Xiaqian parked her car at the roadside. She got out of the car and called Xiaoya. Sis, I'm at Yi Er's office. I'll come over to look for you later. Xiaoya said, I'll come over to look for you guys later. After hanging up she went to look for Yi Er. However, Xiaqian followed behind Yi Er and listened to her scolding people. First she said that people didn't wipe the wall mirrors clean. Then she said that the voice at the reception desk was impolite. Then she said that someone was slacking off early in the morning. Xiaqian finally followed Yi Er to her office. She sighed and said, Yunyi, are you like this at home too? Jiang Zhao likes a woman like you? Oh my god, he has such strong taste. He likes a woman who nags like she's going through menopause. How can he like a woman with such a sharp tongue? Isn't this too tasteless? Yi Er had been angered by Ouyang Yan's bitch attitude this morning. Now that she was provoked by Xiaqian, she almost stomped her feet. She was paired with Jiang Zhao and Jiang Zhao was tasteless? The last time she beat up Ouyang Yan and let Ouyang Xing threaten the Jiang and Qin families, it was not what she wanted. This time she did not vent her anger. Xiaqian happened to be there. She rolled up her sleeves and pounced on Xiaqian. But when she was about to push Xiaqian to the ground and tickle her, Jiang Zhao pushed open the door of Yi Er's office. Yi Er was stunned. She rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao and stared at him angrily. Xiaqian turned and saw Jiang Zhao. Mayor Jiang, hurry up and drag this commoner's wife out of the office. She is going to turn the world upside down. When Xiaqian said that Yi Er was a commoner, Yi Er remembered Ouyang Yan's noble and reserved manner. Who are you calling commoner? Who are you calling commoner? She stretched out her hand to strangle Xiaqian and Jiang Zhao walked over. He bent down and picked up Yi Er from the floor. He looked at her coldly. Xiaqian stood up. She was an idiot and felt the atmosphere was weird. But her instincts told her that Jiang Zhao wanted to uphold justice for her. Jiang Zhao, you better teach your wife a lesson. She does not behave like a commoner's wife at all. She is such a b*tc. It's embarrassing to bring her out. Jiang Zhao turned and looked at Xiaqian angrily. Xiaqian, seems like you are not comfortable with your internship at the TV station? Xiaqian finally realized that they were husband and wife. Her job was arranged by Jiang Zhao, and it was easy for her to get into the city television station. Many low-ranking officials and their families could not even get the chance to be an intern. Who knows how many red packets they would have to bribe them. However, she did not spend a single cent. She was a person who did not forget to dig the well. When she saw Jiang Zhao, he was her benefactor. She could not treat him as casually as she treated Yi Er. Hence, she immediately laughed and scratched her head. Haha, it's very comfortable, very comfortable. I am here today to tell Yi Er that I will be doing an interview at the city's swimming pool in a few days. You all can look for the news tomorrow. Xiaqian felt that she must show her face during this interview. She suddenly felt that she was going to be a celebrity. This feeling was too good. Yi Er shouted at Xiaqian. Lousy host. Who wants to see you? Xiaqian jumped back and raised her hand to stop him. Fine, fine, fine. I will leave first. You can come and see me again when I become an unbreakable host. I feel that your yin and yang are out of balance and you have a bad temper. I suggest you go to a doctor to recuperate. I have been following a program recently. The TV station is doing a health program that focuses on how to maintain one's health and recuperate. I suggest you take a look. Xiaqian, if you continue to stay here, I am afraid you won't be able to escape the interview at the swimming pool. Many people are trying to squeeze into that internship. Jianghu had just finished speaking when Xiaqian's voice reached the corridor. I am leaving. I wish you all a blissful marriage. When Xiaqian arrived at Xiaoya's workplace, she sighed and told her about what had happened at Yier's place. This Yier is so unrighteous. She actually wanted to fight with me. She is such a shrew. There was a stage in front of Xiaoya. The stage was wrapped in a wedding gown. The white gauze flowed on the ground, leaving a happy trail behind it. Xiaoya's hand was under her chin, covering the area below her nose. Her eyes were clear and bright as she stared at her work. It was as if there was a living person standing in front of her. She saw the beautiful smile on the bride's face. Although the bride had beautiful shoulder blades, her neck was a little short. The bride was also a little conservative. If the gown was changed to a V-neck, would the bride be able to accept it? There were accessories and lace on the work table. She picked up 2 pieces of luxurious hand-knitted lace and imagined how the wedding gown would look like after the change. She placed the lace on the shoulder straps and pulled it down to the cleavage at the chest. Then she picked up the sketchbook and pencil on the work table. She erased the top half of the wedding gown with an eraser and sketched seriously. The lace sleeves were slightly blistered and stretched all the way to the chest. The V-neck looked deep, but the faintly discernible lace was able to block the glow that everyone coveted. The lace on the sleeves was changed again. The density of the silk flowers was higher than the lace on the chest. The texture was soft. The bride's shoulders were too thin and the bones on her shoulders were too protruding. The lace sleeves just wrapped around the bones. Songshu 566. Chapter 649. Xiaoya looked at the draft and made a call to the client. Xiaqian thought it was boring to talk to herself, so she quietly watched Xiaoya work. Hello Mrs. Ning, I'm Xiaoya. Yes. You too. How could I? You specifically asked me to design it myself. How could I let an employee do it? Yes, it's like this. I've changed the drawing again. I think it might be more suitable for you. Of course, I need your approval before I can change it. I'll draw a neat drawing later and send it to you. Take a look. Will it be better after I change it? Haha, no, our employees are very responsible, not just me. Okay, I'll contact you later. Xiaoya hung up the phone. Xiaqian looked at Xiaoya in a daze. Sis, you're a little schizophrenic. You're completely different at work and in real life. Xiaoya was still immersed in drawing and carefully comparing the patterns on the Lexus. Qian, when you work in the future, you have to be very serious and responsible. I've always been serious. You're just too schizophrenic. Xiaoya shook her head. It's not a split. It's an attitude towards work. Although I've never told you about my affairs and you've always acted like you don't know anything, I know very well and you've pretty much guessed it. Doing business is like growing up from a baby. We have to learn to walk and rely on others to encourage, support, and reward us. When we fall, adults will pick us up again. But during this time, we have to cherish and work hard, because it's sad to always need others' support. No one doesn't want to walk alone, then run, then climb mountains and conquer the land under their feet. Do you understand what I'm saying? Xiaqian scratched her head. I understand. It means that we can't let adults feed us. We have to learn to eat by ourselves. Sis, I think brother-in-law is very handsome. How could she not see that the man she met last time? Her sister's affairs were at the peak of her career. She rarely saw this man around her. Her sister didn't deliberately hide it. She just used it to remind her not to tell the elders at home. What if I tell you that he's not your future brother-in-law? You can find anyone to be your brother-in-law as long as that person treats you well. So you should be able to tell that Jianghu actually treats Yier very well. For a man to allow his woman to act like a shrew in front of outsiders, it means that he loves her. You shouldn't reprimand Yier's character. Instead, you should envy her for finding a good husband. In the future, you should also find a man who loves you. When the time comes, I'll make you the most beautiful wedding dress and make you the most beautiful bride. Sis, what are you talking about? I don't want to get married. Why do I feel like something's wrong with you today? Something so interesting happened in Yier, but you don't seem to be in the mood at all. Are you hiding something from me? Xiaoya looked up. Huh. She looked at Xiaqian, who was sitting at her workbench and looking at her seriously. I always look like this when I'm working. Why did she reveal her emotions so easily now? Oh yes, I feel that Yi Er must have something on her mind today. I'm afraid she might have gotten into a fight with Jianghu. Let's go over and take a look later. Yi Er is about to hit someone. If they really get into a fight, it won't be nice. Jianghu is the mayor after all, and Yi Er is not rational now. As her friends, we can't let her do whatever she wants. Furthermore, she is very prideful now and I'm afraid she can't stand it anymore. Xiaoya threw her pen aside and changed into her high heels. She took her coat from the coat rack. Let's go over now. I don't want anything to happen. Xiaoya and Xiaqian had just arrived at Yi Er's store when they bumped into Ouyang, who had just parked her car. Xiaoya greeted her in a friendly manner. Miss, why are you here today? Ouyang saw Xiaoya. She knew her. Jiu Xiaoya. She has a lot of clothes in her house that were made in YA. But when she remembered that Xiaoya was Yi Er's friend, she gave her a cold smile and walked up the stairs. Xiaoya was slightly embarrassed. However, she was a businesswoman and had seen all kinds of rich madams, rich young ladies and official madams. She had experienced all kinds of tempers, and this was not the first time she had seen such a cold face. She quickly hid her embarrassment and took Xiaqian's arm to follow her up the stairs. Xiaqian mumbled softly. She's so arrogant. So what if she is beautiful? She might not be able to get married for the rest of her life. Xiaoya patted Yi Er's arm. Don't be so narrow-minded. Don't be so petty, okay? Think about it. When you become a host in the future, you will meet all kinds of weird people. You can't possibly criticize all of them, right? Okay. Take a step back. I understand. Yi Er's store was a small space on the first floor. One had to press the elevator or walk up the stairs to the second floor. Once the elevator opened on the second floor, one would be at the front desk. Ouyang went to the front desk on the second floor. Yi Er was here yesterday, but he was not today. The dance studio was not small. It took up more than 1,000 square meters of space and was divided into many classrooms. The decoration was also more upscale than other dance studios in Haicheng. Nowadays, people who hired private tutors at home would come here to learn. It was said that they had hired a few famous dancers as their teaching assistants. It was impossible to hire them from outside. There was a class every half a month and it was quite a gimmick. She could hear the sound of the teacher teaching the dance steps or practicing the basics. Ouyang asked the staff about Yi Er's whereabouts. Almost no one could resist Ouyang pure as water smile and her polite and noble demeanor. Although her face was beautiful, it didn't make any women feel threatened. Yi Er just stared at Jianghu without saying a word. His eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. He did not even dare to blink. If he did, he would burst into tears. Jianghu rubbed his chin. Yinyi, it's been so long. You still don't believe me? I haven't contacted her since. Just now I couldn't get through to your phone, so I called her. Yi Er sneered at this moment. Jianghu, who are you lying to? You even gave her your credit card. Does Ouyang lack money? Calculating the expiration date of the credit card, that card was applied for in the past 2 months. You say you haven't contacted her? If you haven't contacted her, then why did you come to me with the card you gave her to show off? When did I give her a card? Jianghu was also furious. These words were clearly shouted out with bulging veins. This was simply an attempt to pin a crime on him. He should have swallowed the humiliation in the past. Regardless of whether he had the other party's Dao or not, the matter was there. If he didn't make things clear then, he wouldn't be able to make things clear in the future. He could not do anything about it. But Yi Er said that he gave his credit card to Ouyang. This was simply ridiculous. With his current relationship with the family Ouyang, it was impossible for him to apply for Ouyang's own card, let alone apply for Ouyang's own card. Yinyi, you've learned how to slander people for no reason, haven't you? Yi Er grabbed the newly drafted package form on the table and smashed it on the ground. Am I slandering you? The card that Ouyang used in front of me yesterday was your card. You are Jiangzhao's card. You said that you wanted to lead a good life, Jiangzhao. You were the one who said that you wanted to lead a good life and lead a new life. Ouyang is pregnant now. Yi Er stomped hard on the form on the ground. She finally blinked, and with this blinking she lost all her strength. What does her pregnancy have to do with me? Jiangzhao grabbed Yi Er, who was venting, and held her in place. Tell me, what does her pregnancy have to do with me? What does it have to do with me? Jiangzhao was about to go crazy because of this matter. He hadn't had a moment of peace in the past few months. When he thought about ruining the family Ouyang, he finally felt that he could vent his anger. Now that this matter had suddenly come knocking on his door, he also wanted to smash things. He also wanted to vent his anger with all his might. Timdi. What did Ouyang pregnancy have to do with him? If it has nothing to do with you, then why did she go to Ninth Mansion? She said that the child she's pregnant with is yours. It's yours. It's yours. Ye really went all out this time. She pulled open Jiang Zhao's suit and unbuttoned the top 2 buttons on his shirt. Then she bit down on his shoulder, whimpering as she bit. It was already painful to break the skin. At this moment Ye's tears dripped into the broken flesh. Jiang Zhao frowned and hissed, Yunyi, you won't believe me for the rest of your life, right? If she says it's mine, then you'll think it's mine, right? Ye was trapped in Jiang Zhao's arms. The moment she let go of Jiang Zhao, she slumped back weakly. There was still some blood in her mouth. She was so angry that the lipstick on her lips had stained Jiang Zhao's shoulder. Her lips were stained with the blood from Jiang Zhao's shoulder. How am I supposed to believe you? Jiang Zhao. What about the child? What should I do? Jiang Zhao was so angry that his tall body was trembling. He reached out to grab Ye's shoulder and shook her forcefully. When he glared at Ye, his eyes were filled with anger and disappointment. I told you. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't sleep with her. How many times have I told you that I don't have any memories of that period of time? How many times have I told you that I don't remember sleeping with her? I don't feel anything at all, Yunyi. You'll never believe me. If I slept with you, even if we didn't do it, even if we just kissed and hugged, there's no way I wouldn't remember it at all. Why won't you believe me? Jiang Zhao was already tired of explaining. Just as he said, how many times had he said it? How many times had he said it? But Ye always judged him based on what other men did. In her eyes, even if a man was caught in bed, he would say that he was seduced by another woman. Even though the office door was closed, the 3 people outside could still hear the argument inside. Even though Xiaoya was quick-witted, when she heard the argument, she went to look for the supervisor and asked her not to come to the office. The supervisor was familiar with Xiaoya and knew that Xiaoya and Ye were good friends, so she agreed to let Xiaoya go. She even called out the person in the finance office and told her not to work for now. If anyone wanted to come to the office or finance office to look for Ye, the supervisor would stand at the end of the corridor and send them away. Xia Qian wondered if she should go in and persuade her. Xiaoya pulled her back and glanced at Ouyang, who was standing beside them. She saw that Ouyang was still standing there elegantly with a slight smirk on her face. She looked a little smug. Smug? Smug. She wasn't mistaken. This woman had heard the argument from outside the door and looked a little smug. Originally, Xiaoya wanted to ask Ouyang to leave, but Ouyang said that she and Jiang Zhao were friends. Now that she thought about it, something was wrong. If they were friends, why did Ye have such a reaction when she saw this woman yesterday? Xiaoya had a lot on her mind. She wanted to ask for an explanation, but Ouyang had already taken a step forward and opened the office door. Mistress, come and see. Songshu 566. Chapter 650. A word suddenly popped up in Xiaoya's mind. She pulled Xia Qian and followed in. If this woman was really the person she was thinking of, she couldn't let this woman bully Yi. Jiang Zhao and Ye were stunned. Ouyang smiled faintly. Xiaoya and Xia Qian followed closely behind Ouyang. Xiaoya was a little shrewd, but Xia Qian was a little confused. Brother you can't be so irresponsible with your words. What do you mean the child isn't yours? I've never slept with another man. How are you trying to deny it? The child is real. You can't deny it even if you want to. So, you're going to be a father. Are you happy? Ouyang was just like that. Her face was still dewy. With a face like hers, no one could tell that the word she said could provoke Ye to death. Ye finally understood why so many people had high blood pressure and heart disease. Some people got it from eating too much, while others got it from anger. But when his blood pressure rose, Ye felt a gust of cold air. He turned around and saw Jiang Zhao. He realized that this man was now surrounded by 1,000-year-old ice. It was so cold that his blood was about to freeze. He wasn't looking at him but at Ouyang. Xiaoya grabbed Ouyang's clothes. Ouyang stumbled and turned around. She was so frightened that her face turned pale. Her dignified demeanor suddenly disappeared. She said angrily, "What are you doing?" "What am I doing? I'm going to teach you a lesson." It wasn't that Xiaoya didn't want to hit Jiang Zhao, but this woman's words were really asking for a beating. Chen, catch her. Xia Qian reacted and hugged Ouyang. Xiaoya took a step back, closed the door and walked back. She raised her hand and slapped Ouyang hard across the face. Ye knew that he had implicated the family by hitting Ouyang last time. He quickly shouted, "Sister Xiaoya, don't hit her. She'll cause trouble." "How dare you hit me?" Yang wanted to retaliate, but Xiaqian grabbed his arms and pulled him into her embrace. He wanted to extend his leg, but Xiaoya took a step back. Xiaoya did not listen to Yi, but Yang pulled back his leg and slapped her again. Go away. Go and say it. Saying that I, Xiaoya, hit you. I want to see what kind of trouble I can cause. I hit a shameless third party. Let's see what kind of trouble I can cause. When she was about to give another slap, her hand was grabbed by a strong hand. Xiaoya looked at Jiang Zhao in disbelief. Jiang Zhao still had a cold expression on his face. He had always had an arrogant attitude. At this moment, the cold air around him made people tremble. Jiang Zhao, you're still helping her at a time like this. Xiaoya was really angry and hateful. Xiaqian was quite tired from carrying Yang. She panted and said, Jiang Zhao, you heartless person. What's wrong with Yi? Yi stood rooted to the ground. When she hit Yang the last time, he did not stop her. This time when Xiaoya hit Yang, he stopped her. Was it because Yang was pregnant? She did not know when she would start to not feel heartache when facing this man. He had just said that it had nothing to do with him. The moment he turned around, he went to help that woman. Yi staggered a few steps back. He put his palms on the office table behind him and barely managed to steady himself. Good. Otherwise she would not be able to give up. Jiang Zhao pulled Xiaqian's arm away from Yang. Yang was very touched. Second brother, I knew it. You can't bear to see me get hurt. As soon as she finished speaking, she was about to throw herself into Jiang Zhao's arms. However, Jiang Zhao grabbed Yan's shoulders with both hands. A man's steps, especially those of a man as tall as Jiang Zhao, were fast and heavy. In just a few steps he pinned Yang against the wall. Yi, Xiaoya and Xiaqian were all stunned. At this moment, Jiang Zhao's voice and tone were not as agitated and emotional as when he was arguing with Yi earlier. He was so cold that it was almost emotionless. He was originally a handsome man. When he looked at her with disdain, when he was arrogant, when he was emotionless, he truly had the aura of a king. Yang, didn't I ask you if you wanted to die? Yang, I've never hit a woman. The corners of Jiang Zhao's mouth curled up slightly. Usually, Qin Fian's smile was the most enchanting, but at this moment, Jiang Zhao's bone-chilling aura suddenly blossomed into an evil smile. It was so enchanting that it made people suffocate. Yang was absent-minded for a moment. Yang, I've never hit a woman. You said that you're pregnant with my child. Good, very good. The smile at the corners of Jiang Zhao's mouth slowly faded. His voice was almost cold as he murmured, I want to see if it's my child. I've said before that I've never hit a woman. I'm not hitting a woman. I just want to see if it's my child. Yi looked at Jiang Zhao's expression and felt her heart tremble. She didn't know what Jiang Zhao wanted to do, but she felt that Jiang Zhao wanted to kill someone and was about to go over. Jiang Zhao bent his long leg and slammed it forcefully into Yan's abdomen. Other than Yan's painful screams, no one in the room could be heard. Yi suddenly covered her mouth. Her eyes widened in shock and she didn't even dare to scream. Xiaqian was so frightened that she burrowed into Xiaoya's arms to hide. Jiang Zhao's eyes were almost bloodshot, but he was like a calm madman. He looked at Yang, whose face had already turned pale, and said fiercely, when the baby comes out later, I'll take it for a DNA test. If it's mine, Jiang Zhao, you can use it as evidence and sue me for raping you. You can even send me to prison. As he said this, he lifted his long leg again and slammed it against Yan's abdomen. Yang felt a piercing pain in her lower abdomen. She saw that the man was actually looking at her with a calm gaze. He was so focused on her, but he was so cold as if he was looking at a stranger. Yi's hand, which was supporting herself on the table, started to tremble. A woman's strength couldn't be compared to a man's. The last time she had hit Yang, she had only hit her face. But Jiang Zhao was different. His coldness was slowly entwined with a murderous aura. It wasn't as if Yi had never angered Jiang Zhao before. She knew that he had such a side to him. He was so fierce that he wasn't afraid of anything and was so arrogant that he considered everyone beneath him. He wasn't the same Jiang Zhao that the outside world saw. She had been punished by him and knew how merciless he could be. Yi and Xiaoya rushed over at almost the same time and pulled Jiang Zhao back. Xiaoya knew that the situation had reached a point of no return. Yi was definitely in a state of confusion. Xiaoya squatted down and hugged Jiang Zhao's leg. She wanted to lift it up again, but the man's muscles were as hard as steel. She couldn't control it on her own. She turned her head and shouted at Xiaqian, who was already scared out of her wits. Xiaqian, what are you doing? Come and help. Xiaqian panicked, but she had to listen to Xiaoya. She ran over and imitated Xiaoya. She squatted down and stood behind Jianghu. She hugged his leg. Yi stood on the other side of Jianghu. She was originally holding onto his arm, but now she wrapped her arm around his neck. Ajao. She tried to use the name that would soften his heart the most to wake him up. Ajao, don't do this. Don't do this. Someone will die. Don't do this. At this moment, Jianghu was like an out-of-control beast in Yi's eyes. He wouldn't listen to any advice. He was a beast that wanted to achieve his own goals. He wanted to get rid of the people who were invading his territory. Ajao, someone will die. Yi was so scared that she kept repeating herself. Not to mention that Ouyang was pregnant. Even if she was a normal woman, how could she stand being treated with such force by a man? Jianghu was still holding onto Ouyang shoulder. He said coldly, "Is your stomach starting to hurt? Is there anything that is leaking out? If it does, I'll get a forensic doctor to come over and examine it." Yi's lips were trembling. She felt her entire body turn cold. She knew that Ouyang must be feeling cold as well. Ouyang's lips started to turn pale. Beads of sweat formed on her forehead. Her tears had been flowing for a long time, but they didn't move the man. She gritted her teeth and said hatefully, "Jianghu. You. Beast." Jianghu's gaze was cold. "Yes, I'm a beast. Is there anything leaking out?" As he spoke, his legs started to struggle again. Xiaoya and Xiaqian were girls after all. Even though they were using all their strength, they still felt that fighting against this man was simply courting death. Xiaoya and Xiaqian wrapped their arms around Jianghu's leg. They used one hand to hold onto their other wrist tightly. Their wrists were red and painful from the pulling. Xiaoya looked up. "Yeah. Hurry up and call an ambulance. There's the smell of blood. Hurry." After Yi came back to her senses, she suddenly let go of Jianghu. She staggered to the desk and started to dial 120. Jianghu smiled. "Very good, it's leaking out." He loosened his grip on Ouyang's shoulder. His shoulders drooped weakly. It was as if he had used up all his strength just now. At this moment he couldn't muster up any strength. Xiaoya realized that something was amiss. She immediately stood up and called out to Xiaqian, "Qian, don't stand behind him. Be careful not to crush you." Jianghu rubbed his forehead, his shoulders drooped, and his eyes wandered around. When he saw the sofa, he walked over weakly and sat down. He leaned back, raised his head and said softly, "Very good. Get someone to appraise it." Xiaqian was so frightened by Jianghu that she didn't say a word. It was as if she had lost the ability to speak. Even though Xiaoya had been through a lot, she turned around to support Ouyang. "Let me help you over to the sofa. The ambulance will be here soon." Ouyang clutched his stomach and stared at Xiaoya with hatred. "You will all suffer retribution." Xiaoya didn't argue. "Yes, you're right. We will all suffer retribution. Don't get agitated." Jianghu sat on the sofa without saying a word. He just leaned back with his head tilted up and his eyes closed. He seemed to be resting and ignored everyone. Yi didn't dare to leave. Xiaoya and Xiaqian took Ouyang to the hospital. Ouyang had a dilation and was transferred to the ward. Xiaoya gave the doctor a red packet and took the embryo sac. She also bribed the doctor to keep it and get the DNA report done. Xiaqian didn't understand. "Sis, if this embryo sac has nothing to do with Jianghu, then if this woman sues Jianghu, will Jianghu's responsibility be lighter?" In Xiaqian's eyes, this was a legal society. Jianghu's actions were already considered intentional harm. He used violence to cause a pregnant woman to miscarry. This was no longer a simple dispute as simple as a slap to the face. Xiaoya thought about the people coming and going, the women going in and out of the surgeries, and she felt a little emotional. Women did not know how to protect themselves. It was the biggest mistake to have a child with a man who did not love them. After getting pregnant, they came to be a prostitute and scolded the man for being irresponsible. Had they reflected on themselves and realized that they did not love themselves enough? Wouldn't Ouyang be even more foolish? "Sis." Xiaqian looked at Xiaoya, who was in a daze, and called out again. "Qian, remember this. When you have a boyfriend in the future, the first thing you need to do is not to learn how to love him, but to learn how to prevent pregnancy." "Sis, you're so annoying." Xiaqian didn't have a boyfriend yet. When Xiaoya said this, she couldn't help but feel uncomfortable and embarrassed. A powerful novel. Xingwu 799. Chapter 651. Xiaoya held Xiaqian's hand. Her own hand was not as warm as Xiaqian's and was very cold. She patted her sister's hand and said with some concern, "Qian, I'm not joking. There are too many uncertainties in this society. If you meet a man you like and sleep with him, even if you change boyfriends every year, break up, fall in love, sleep with him again, break up with him again, it's not that you don't love yourself. But if you're so stupid that you don't know how to use contraceptives and frequently enter the operating room, then you really don't love yourself. The simplest thing in human society is to make babies. When a man and a woman get together, it's an instinct to reproduce. It's a dream for a woman to use a child to tie a man down. Having children isn't a big deal. Do you understand? Xiaqian knew that Xiaoya was serious and also knew that she was doing it for her own good. She nodded obediently and said, "Sis, what's the point of keeping the embryo sac?" Xiaoya said, "I'm worried that if the embryo sac goes missing, Jianghu will be bitten by the Ouyang. If that happens, Yi'er will be in big trouble. This Ouyang is really something. She's not Jianghu's child and yet she dares to anger Yi'er so righteously. She's obviously trying to anger Yi'er to death. Why would Jianghu touch her? Jianghu is a good person. He definitely wouldn't do anything to hurt Yi'er." Xia Qian couldn't help but feel indignant. "Are you so sure that Jianghu didn't touch the Ouyang? Xiaoya smiled faintly. "Then aren't you killing Jianghu by keeping the embryo sac? If Jianghu touched the Ouyang, would he still be like that?" Xia Qian got angrier as she spoke. "Even a vicious tiger won't eat its cubs." Xiaoya patted Xia Qian's back. "That's why I told you that women need to know how to use contraceptives. Can't you see it today?" Xia Qian was confused. "See what?" "Let's not talk about whether what Jianghu said outside the door to defend himself was true. The Ouyang appearance and encounter proves one thing." "What's the outcome?" Xiaoya took a deep breath. "It proves that even if the child in Ouyang's belly is Jianghu's, Jianghu won't want it." Xia Qian was still wondering why the child was Jianghu's. Xiaoya smiled and said, "There are many ways to test for DNA. You're in the media industry so you're familiar with many fields. Even if the child hasn't been born, we can still draw the amniotic fluid. There's no need for an abortion at all. But Jianghu's decisiveness is not just to vent his anger, but because he wants to." At this point Xiaoya paused and took a deep, trembling breath. "Cut the weeds and dig up the roots." Xia Qian covered her mouth and exclaimed, "Oh my God! But Sister Jianghu said that if the child is his, we will ask Ouyang to sue him. What should we do?" "It means that even if Jianghu goes to jail, he won't be with Ouyang over a child. Do you understand?" Xia Qian was extremely anxious. "I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what should we do if Ouyang sues him? That's why I bribed the doctor to change the test results if necessary." "Sister, how could you do such a thing?" "Don't worry, I'm 98% sure that the child isn't Jianghu's. But Jianghu is being too cruel by doing this for the sake of that 2% uncertainty." Xiaoya looked at the wall opposite her. "Xia Qian, don't ever provoke a man like Jianghu in the future. He's too cruel and vicious." Xia Qian seemed to understand some of it and tried to comprehend it for a while. When she couldn't understand, she looked at Xiaoya quietly. The two of them sat in a row outside the corridor filled with strong antiseptic. Xia Qian felt that Xiaoya was very sad today. The two of them snuggled together and sat on a stool outside Ouyang's ward. A series of hurried footsteps could be heard. The two of them turned their heads to take a look. There was no one in High City that they didn't know. Ouyang Sheng was being supported by someone as he hurriedly walked in their direction. Yi'er accompanied Jianghu, who was so quiet that he didn't say a word. She was afraid. "Ah Zhao." She called him many times but he didn't respond. After a while, his thin lips finally parted and he said, "I'm so tired," then he sighed again. "I'm so tired." The man's sitting posture didn't change. His eyes didn't open and his eyelashes were closed and trembling slightly. Yi'er squatted on the floor and rested her elbows on the floor. She rested her head on Jianghu's lap and rested her head on his forearm. Hearing Jianghu say that he was tired, her heart felt like it was being twisted. She really wanted him to speak so that he wouldn't suffocate. However, the few words that came out of his mouth were like a blunt knife. It was so painful that she couldn't feel good. When he said that he was tired, there was a sense of desolation and helplessness in his voice, as if he was an old man past his prime. When he said that he was tired, there was a sense of weariness in his voice, as if he was a depressed youth. He had never shown this side of himself in front of her before. In front of her, he had always been a man who could hold up a home and support both heaven and earth. But now he seemed like he was about to collapse. He said that he was tired. Yi'er lay on Jianghu's lap and didn't get up. She lay there and felt that the muscles on his legs weren't as hard as before. She could feel his warmth. "Ah Zhao, let's be good together. No matter what the outcome is, Let's be good together, okay? Jianghu opened his eyes slowly and looked at the ceiling. He reached out and stroked the head on his lap. Now that she was working, she would always tidy up her hair properly and tie it into a small bun on the top of her head. When she wore a black dance training outfit and stretched her body to practice her basic skills, she looked very good. His voice was still the same. It sounded lonely, desolate, powerless, weary, but it also sounded like he was confiding in her. He spoke slowly and paused occasionally. Yunyi, you're right. After just now, I realized that I wasn't 100% sure either. I know that I was drugged that day. But I also know that there are not only knockout drugs in this world, there are also hallucinogens and many other strange things. Just like many young people who are high and do many irreversible things after being drugged, they can't remember it the next day. I'm not sure what kind of drug I was drugged with. I only know that I don't have any memory. I know that I can't touch her. My heart is filled with you. How can I touch her when I'm sober? I'm not a man who pounces on women whenever he sees one. But she's a prosecutor. Even if she's lying, her gaze is so firm that no one can see through her. She's so confident. Yinyi, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Yi lay on Jianghu's lap, her slender and fair hands clutching onto Jianghu's pants tightly. He said, my heart is filled with you. How can I touch her when I'm sober? Yunyi, I don't know what else I can say. I finally found out just now that I'm not sure. Maybe I touched her. Although this possibility is very small, when I think of this, I feel that I've let you down. But even if the child is mine, I won't want it. If she sues me and you want to divorce me, I'd rather go to jail than be with her. Jianghu grabbed Yi's hand a little forcefully and fiercely. Yunyi, if I go to jail, I'll let it go for the rest of my life. But you know that even if I caused her to have a miscarriage today, I can't go to jail for the rest of my life. Even if you divorce me. When he paused here, Jianghu closed his eyes again and let out a long breath. If I come out of jail and find out that you're with another man, I'll kill you and that man. Jianghu closed his eyes and repeated, I'll kill both of you. He tightened his grip on Yi's hand. Then he opened his fingers and immediately clenched them again and tightened his grip. People love to say that dripping water could wear a stone. What about love? He didn't know when he started to fall in love with her, and he didn't know when she started to fall in love with him. He couldn't tell the time or the place. He only knew that one day he wanted to have her and only he could have her. No one else could covet her. He even asked her not to look at anyone else. Even if she smiled when she talked about someone else, it would affect his emotions. He only needed to imagine why that person made her smile, and he would feel sour and jealous. It wasn't that he hadn't loved before. At his age he should have seen through it all. He had always felt that he was a righteous but heartless person. He wouldn't abandon the righteousness that he valued. For example, he could protect the brotherhood between brothers. Even if he knew that he was walking this path because he wanted his family to go further, he was still willing to do so. But when it came to love, he was heartless. If the Ouyang said that he was a beast, he would say that he was a beast. To the Ouyang he was a beast. But if he didn't do this, he would be a beast to Yi. He had no choice but to choose between the two. He almost never thought of choosing. He was afraid of being tortured. But he had never been a man who was afraid of being tortured. But in the past few months he had suffered enough. Sometimes he would even give up and think about what was wrong with him. For a man like him, he could find any kind of woman. What was so good about Yi? He was so thick-skinned to please her. Whatever she wanted to do, he would let her do it. Following a woman's wishes and doing what he liked was his demeanor. Under normal circumstances he should get something in return. But he didn't get it. He still got her distrust and her unforgiveness. He had done something wrong and then she confronted him. He couldn't threaten her like before. Your brother, your father, your other people. Then when she heard his threats she would be like before. She held his arm and said, Master, you're so nice. He had been working hard to build trust. He wanted to break through. He wanted to go back to the time before that night. He only wanted to remember that she said, Jianghu, I love you. He didn't need to remember the rest. He didn't need to remember it. He often thought about it. He had missed it for so long. He could make up for it in the future. Although they were living separately, their relationship was becoming more like that of a brother and sister-in-law. They didn't always try to please each other. Their lives were becoming more and more like a normal life. But the news of the Ouyang's pregnancy almost interrupted all of his plans and dreams. Yi started to distrust him again. She bit him. Last time when she caught him, his sister was in bed, she didn't hit him. This time she bit him and didn't hesitate to make him bleed. He knew that she was desperate. He couldn't imagine how long their marriage could last. Maybe it wouldn't even take 10 days before the world turned upside down. He wasn't stupid. He knew what trouble he was about to cause. Even though the family Ouyang was starting to get tired of dealing with their debts, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. The Ouyang Yin wasn't a girl from an ordinary family. He was the main person responsible for her miscarriage. He was the perpetrator. But he would rather do that. He didn't want to suffer that kind of torment. He didn't have time to waste with the Ouyang Yin. He knew how smart she was. He also knew that she was best at psychological warfare. He could accompany her in this psychological warfare, but Yi Er couldn't. Yi Er didn't have that kind of quality. He could only cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. A thought suddenly arose in his mind. No matter if it was true or not, he had to be 100% sure that the dust would settle. He knew that he couldn't retreat. There was lava in front of him and behind him was a cliff. He would either burn to death or fall to his death. But he couldn't just stand there and wait until he died of anxiety. Awesome novel Xianhu 799. Chapter 652. He knew that he was not a good person. He had never thought of himself as a good person. In this world of power, money, beauty, and lust washed over his soul every day. He was unable to purify himself, and he was unwilling to be purified. If he did not act ruthlessly in the future, either he or Yi Er would be tortured to death. At this moment Yi Er was kneeling beside Jianghu. When she heard him speak so viciously, she felt like there were worms gnawing at her heart bit by bit. Starting from the edges, they slowly gnawed at her heart. She wanted to struggle and escape, but her heart was surrounded by worms. Every time she moved, it would itch and hurt even more. Her heart was thumping wildly. After she calmed down, she couldn't help but lower her head and smile. When she raised her head to look at Jianghu again, she reached out and caressed his face. Again and again she pressed her fingertips against his jaw and massaged it. His beard was shaved clean in the morning, but sometimes she liked to see some stubble on his jaw when he woke up in the morning. That proved that they had spent another day together. Then don't go in. If you go in you can't control me. Can you control me? Jianghu opened his eyes and sat up straight. He lowered his head and was about to fly into a rage when he saw Yi Er's tears suddenly rolling down her cheeks. He saw that her eyes were red, the tip of her nose was red, and there was a trail of snot running down her nose. Her tears flowed for a while and she sniffled. Then she opened her mouth and exhaled. When she exhaled, her lips were trembling. Actually, it wasn't her lips that were trembling, it was her jaw that was trembling when she opened her mouth. He said leisurely, "You can try." Although her tears were still flowing, she couldn't help but smile. She reached out and slapped Jianghu's thigh a little angrily. "Hey, can you be more humane? So many people have been sent to prison, but they're all afraid of wasting their women's youth. They're all asking them to find another man while they're still young. You're really..." Jianghu pulled up the hem of Yi Er's sweater. Yi Er thought that Jianghu was going to be a hooligan and was about to scold him for being a shameless jerk when Jianghu covered Yi Er's nose with the hem of the sweater. He wiped the snot off the sweater and put it down. "Really what?" Yi Er lowered his head and saw the snot on his clothes. He grimaced in disgust and shouted angrily, "Seriously? What reason?" Jianghu seemed to be in a better mood. "Yes, I've always been unreasonable. Who told you to beg to marry me? What are you going to do now?" Recalling that he was the one who proposed to her, Yi Er felt a little embarrassed. "I just wanted to put on airs. What's wrong with that? There's no use pretending to be pretentious. She's still my wife." Jianghu. Ouyang Yan's ward defied the silence written on the corridor. Ouyang Sheng was furious. Go, go, go. Go and investigate. Where did the baby come from and how did the miscarriage happen?" He only remembered that his granddaughter had called him a while ago and said that she had been admitted to the hospital. After being given anesthetics, she had fallen asleep and he couldn't get anything out of her. Ouyang Sheng was furious and his voice wasn't soft. Xiaoya and Xia Qian, who were sitting in the corridor, heard him clearly. Ouyang Yin didn't wake up. Ouyang Sheng heard from the nurse that she and Xia Qian had sent Ouyang Yin to the hospital and insisted on detaining her. Xiaoya wasn't anxious. It was good that at least Ouyang Sheng didn't know that his granddaughter was pregnant. He should let Yi Er know about it, regardless of whether it was worth it or not. Actually, Xia Qian's courage wasn't small, but she wasn't that big either. Although she always made mistakes, she was relatively honest in her studies. She didn't have the bad habits of a child who got into fights, so she felt that it was a big deal that she was detained by Ouyang Sheng. "Sis, what should we do? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid that the old man will eat us up? Losing Xia Qian and Haiqing isn't a big deal, but what about the disappearance of the famous designer Xiao Yiqiu? Moreover, isn't this a public hospital where people come and go? Would he dare to stab me in the back in front of everyone? Xiaoya casually brushed her hair behind her ear. Sis, why are you so calm? Xia Qian realized that her legs were trembling. That old man didn't look like a good person. He looked fierce and fierce. Moreover, wasn't the fourth master of Haiqing very powerful? This was really terrible. Xiaoya burst out laughing. You said it? This is a lawful society. Pfft. Xia Qian looked at Xiaoya and couldn't help but spit. The men brought by the fourth master were all in black suits. Legend had it that the men in black suits were all from the underworld. The people in the underworld would often ask people to eat bullets. This was how it was portrayed in Hong Kong movies. Moreover, the things that Jiang Zhao did today were not things that people from a lawful society should do. What her sister did was even worse. Giving red packets to the hospital was not allowed, right? Giving money to the doctor to do a private DNA test without the consent of the embryo's owner and without the police's permission was not allowed, right? Also, threatening to change the test results was not allowed, right? She did so many things in a few hours that were not allowed, and she still had the cheek to say that it was a lawful society. Xia Qian spat again. Zhou Xiaoya, you've really learned something. What nonsense are you spouting? Xiaoya folded her arms and leaned back against the wall. She spat and said leisurely, Do you have eggs? Xia Qian almost gritted her teeth. Was this how an older sister should behave? She was so anxious. The emperor was not anxious, but the eunuch was anxious. Who was the eunuch? She straightened her body and tilted her chin. I have eggs. Where are they? Here, Xia Qian pointed at her face. My face? You have eggs but not your face. Xiaoya chuckled. Then what eggs do I have? You have eggs, get lost. Xia Qian was petrified. As a member of society with a sense of justice, facing such a cold-blooded person who did not care about worldly affairs, what else could she do but be petrified? After talking for so long, this cold-blooded person refused to say anything. What should she do? She spouted a bunch of eggs. She really had to hand it to her. Sister, if you're so good at ting, why didn't you learn how to be a host? Why did you learn fashion design? Xiaoya was still laughing, but at this moment, her face darkened and her nonsense turned into a scream. Xia Qian, why don't you take care of yourself? Why do you care so much about me? Aren't you embarrassed? Other students with good grades find their own internships. What about you? You got in through the back door. Are you embarrassed? If you want to get in through the back door, then go to me or your boyfriend. You actually went to your friend's husband to get in through the back door. You still have the nerve to say that you have a face? Where is your face? Why didn't I notice it? Yo Qiu Xiaoya. You've learned something new. Just as the two of them were about to start a war of words, the door to the ward opened. A man in a black suit came out and shouted, What are you arguing about? You're disturbing the patient's rest. CKU. Xiaoya's heart was filled with anger. She stood up and shouted back, Who's King noisy? Is your voice louder or mine? Xia Qian realized that something was wrong with Xiaoya and immediately went over to pull her back. Sis, let's stop arguing. Xiaoya pushed Xia Qian away. Are you a coward? Can't you tell who's pulling who in a fight? You're pulling me because you want me to get beaten up, aren't you? The originally quiet corridor of the hospital became louder and louder. It was so loud that Ouyang Xing stood at the door and glared at Qiu Xiaoya. My granddaughter hasn't woken up yet. Be quiet. Xiaoya liked to dress enchanting and sexy. The weather in the middle of February was not too cold. She wore a tight short skirt and a woolen coat. Her high heels were on her feet, and the woolen coat was open. Her figure was wrapped in a protruding front and back. Her appearance was originally cold and elegant. At this time, her arms were crossed in front of her chest, and she was leaning. She looked a little cold. She slanted her body and sneered contemptuously. Her face was too enchanting and beautiful. What a joke. How much do I earn in a day to stay here and wait for your granddaughter to wake up? It's good enough that I didn't ask you to pay for my losses. You said that we should ask her clearly when she wakes up? Then we can leave. I'm just making some noise to wake her up faster. What? She doesn't know how to be grateful when she wakes up faster? Xiaoya's words were indeed quite harsh and aggressive. It wasn't that she hadn't done business with the family Ouyang before. Ouyang Hai and his wife, and I Jun's, dresses were all made by her. It wasn't that she didn't want to make money peacefully, but she felt that it was bad luck to sit here and wait for Ouyang Yan to wake up. Moreover, Ouyang Xing's face was really annoying. Perhaps she hated the mistress who interfered in her friend's marriage, so she hated Ouyang Xing as well. Ouyang Xing had been proud and arrogant all his life. Who among the younger generation in Haiqing didn't call him fourth master? Even though Jiang Zhao didn't call him fourth master anymore, he still had to call him fourth master hypocritically or mockingly. But this woman, a woman who sold clothes, dared to challenge him like this. Was she tired of living? Her words and tone were full of provocation. Xiaoya looked at Ouyang Xing's changes. An old man could actually look so healthy. She heard that Ouyang Xing was 70 years old, but he didn't look like that at all. His face was flushed red and full of murderous intent. Xiaoya held her breath and looked at Ouyang Xing with a provocative gaze. Xia Qian's heart was in her throat. She really hadn't seen much of the world. She had a heavy heart and instinctively retreated when she felt danger. This was human nature. There wasn't anything wrong with it. She just felt that Ouyang Xing wasn't easy to get along with and that she should stay away from him and not offend him. Sis, let's go sit for a while. Sit for what? My butt is going to grow calluses from sitting. Forget it, let's go. Xiaoya turned around and grabbed Xia Qian's hand. The sound of her high heels was crisp, loud and arrogant. Ouyang Xing pointed at Xiaoya's back. Rebel. Get her back. I'd like to see if she dares to walk out of this floor without my permission today. Xiaoya didn't stop walking. She held Xia Qian's hand tightly and said in a low voice, Qian, let me tell you, we have to go. If Ouyang Yin wakes up and tells us what happened today, we're done for. You've seen how Ouyang Xing is. We can't afford to offend him. Xia Qian broke out in cold sweat. Sis, I'm scared. Don't worry, I'm here. The man in the black suit walked quickly and quickly caught up with Xiaoya and Xia Qian. He turned around in front of them and raised his arm to block their way. Xiaoya asked calmly, What do you want? Illegal detention? Miss Zhou, don't make things difficult for us. Xiaoya touched her face and pretended to be sad. She looked up at the corner to see if there were any cameras. She then looked around and snorted with a smile. You guys are so funny. This is a public hospital. There are so many people coming and going. There are so many witnesses, doctors, nurses and surveillance cameras. Are you going to use force on me in broad daylight? Beauty novel Xinwu 799. Chapter 653. Miss Zhou, we're just asking you to go back. When Miss Sun wakes up, she'll naturally be able to leave. Xiaoya naturally understood that Ouyang Xing wasn't going to reason with her. Then let my sister go. Xia Qian was shocked and her heart was filled with fear. No, sis, I'll stay here with you. What are you doing here? Is there meat to eat? Does the disinfectant smell good? Xiaoya glared at Xia Qian. Jiang Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. When he stood up, he lifted Yi Er. You were the one who unbuttoned my shirt. Button it up for me. Yi Er tugged at Jiang Zhao's collar again. Let me see if you need to dress your wound. Jiang Zhao pushed Yi Er's hand away and buttoned up his own shirt. He smiled. It's fine. I'll go to the hospital to get a rabies vaccine later. Yi Er's lips twitched. This guy really held a grudge. She had scolded him the last time and now he was returning the favor. Okay. Go get it. Get it done. Jiang Zhao buttoned up his shirt and stretched his neck. When he moved his shoulders, it really did hurt. He looked at the woman's red eyes and reached out to flick her brow. Hey, rabies vaccines are very expensive. Do you think it's easy to earn your husband's money? I wake up early and work late every day. I have to endure the anger of my boss and worry about my subordinates messing around. I have to live in fear just to earn a little salary. You're actually asking me to waste my money on vaccinations? Do you even know how to run a household? Yi Er hissed in pain, but she still covered her brow and smiled at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, you're so bad. You're always teasing me. If I didn't tease you, who would I tease? If she wasn't my wife, I wouldn't even bother teasing her. I wouldn't even bother wasting my breath talking to her. You don't know what's good for you. Yi Er knew that if they were to talk nonsense, there was no way she would be able to outtalk Jiang Zhao. Just as she was about to admit defeat and call a truce, Jiang Zhao reached out and grabbed the back of her head. With a gentle tug, he brought her in front of him. On her forehead, he pressed his lips forcefully against hers with his unique warmth. Moi, I'll go to the hospital to have a look. It's not right to leave Xiaoya and Xia Qian there. I think Ouyang Xing is also there now. I'll go with you. Don't go. Ouyang Yan is injured now. Ouyang Xing must be very angry. It's not good to have another target if you go. I'll calm down when you're not here. To Yi Er's relief, after that incident, Jiang Zhao never called Ouyang Yan Yun. She really shouldn't have gone. With her around, he was always impulsive. I'm not going. You go. When Yi Er said this, her voice was calm and there was a hint of a smile on her face. When she reached out to stroke the collar of Jiang Zhao's suit, it was soft and gentle. It was as if she was steadily stroking his heart. Jianghu suddenly realized that Yi Er had grown up. She had grown up all of a sudden. Just as Jianghu's car drove into the public hospital, a flashy silver Bugatti also drove into the hospital. At that time, the ambulance was in a hurry and he didn't think of asking Yi Er to call a private hospital. However, Xuanhuan drove his own car over. He probably heard the news halfway and rushed over without even changing his car. It seemed like he was a little late. Xuanhuan sat in the car. Li Yong, who was in his 40s, had just parked the car. He turned his head and said, "Young master, I'll go up. You should wait in the car." Xuanhuan rubbed his chin and was a little annoyed. "Let's go up together. I don't believe that Ouyang Xing really dares to detain people." Li Yong was a little worried. "Young master, it's better if you don't show up. If word gets out, it won't be good. Moreover, this is a public hospital. There are so many people coming and going. It's too eye-catching." At this moment, Xuanhuan's phone rang. Jiang Zhao's calm voice came from the phone. "Yichen, you go back first. I'll go up." Xuanhuan's jaw dropped. "Brother Zhao, Ouyang Xing is not someone to be trifled with. I don't care about anything else. Qiu Xiaoya is now my woman. Today's incident was because of your family. I want a guarantee from you." How could Jiang Zhao not hear Xuanhuan's dissatisfaction? At this time he was not in the mood to bargain with Xuanhuan. As a man he had to take responsibility. Moreover, Xuanhuan was telling the truth. Today's incident was because of his family. It was all thanks to Qiu Xiaoya and Xiaqian. Otherwise it would have been a pot of rotten porridge. Xuanhuan should be responsible for the entire incident. "Okay, I promise she'll be fine. I'll wait downstairs for a while. If she doesn't come down in 20 minutes, I'll go up." Xuanhuan took a deep breath and said calmly, "I'll wait for your news. I'm hanging up." Jiang Zhao turned off the engine and hung up the phone. He opened the door and got out of the car. The man in the black suit refused to let Xiaqian go first. Xiaoya was in a deadlock with the man. Even though the inpatient area was quiet and Ouyang Xing was famous, it still attracted the attention of some curious people. Jiang Zhao got out of the elevator and stood at the door. He stretched his back and walked towards Ouyang Yan's room in the inpatient area. When Xiaqian saw Jiang Zhao, she hugged Xiaoya's arm in surprise. She didn't care whether they were in the inpatient area or not. She screamed excitedly, "Sister, Jiang Zhao is here." Xiaoya only glanced at him and was slightly disappointed. Ouyang Xing, who was sitting beside Ouyang Yan's bed, heard Xiaqian's screams and stood up immediately. Ouyang Xing walked quickly to the door and stretched his neck to take a peek. He saw Jiang Zhao greeting his men, so he went over. "Sir." Although Jiang Zhao had done something to hurt Ouyang Yan, he did not have the slightest intention of pleasing Ouyang Xing. The way he addressed Ouyang Xing was very stiff. Ouyang Xing always felt unhappy when Jiang Zhao addressed him as sir. He said sarcastically, "Mayor Jiang, when you address me as sir, you are picking up the bad habits of the underworld. It's all right. It's just a form of address." Jiang Zhao stopped exchanging pleasantries with Ouyang Xing. "I was present at the scene today. At that time, I had to appease Yer, so I asked Miss Chiu and the others to send the Ouyang Xing inspectors over. I'm done with my work now, so I came over to replace them." Ouyang Xing was unhappy with Jiang Zhao's disrespect. He looked at Chiu and Xiaoya. "You can only leave after Yan wakes up." Jiang Zhao was good at dealing with people. It was just like what he had told Yi Er. When Yi Er was not around, he would be calmer. He had to think of the bigger picture, and when he confronts someone, he will know when to stop. Unknowingly, Yi Er had become his weakness. Dong Xuebing smiled. "Since you think Miss Chiu is better here, I will leave first." Ouyang Xing knew when to step down. If Jiang Zhao wanted to leave, it would not be as easy as detaining a young girl. Since this matter was related to Jiang Zhao, it would be better for Jiang Zhao to stay here than for Xiaoya. "You can leave now." Qiu Xiaoya only said thank you to Jiang Zhao and left with Xiaqian in her high heels. Ouyang Xing turned around and led the way. When they reached Ouyang Yan's ward, he asked the staff to close the door. "What happened?" "You have to wait until O Jinan wakes up before asking. If not, you will find my one-sided story boring." Jiang Zhao pulled out a stool and sat down. He took out his phone and sent a message. "She is downstairs. Did you see her?" "Thank you." When Jiang Zhao saw this message, he couldn't help but laugh. Xuanhuan had all the morals that a person should have. When they were together, what they liked the most was an equal exchange where they didn't owe each other anything. The words "thank you" sounded very strange. Ouyang Xing knew that ever since that night at the family Ouyang's house, Jiang Zhao had always treated him like this. Jiang Zhao's attitude was known to Qin Rongfang, but Qin Rongfang did not care. This kind of junior did not even know how to respect his elders. How could he be young and promising? Jiangzhao, don't think that I can't teach you a lesson. Jiangzhao looked up and stared blankly at Ouyang Sheng for a while. Then he suddenly laughed. I have been very sick recently. I need to be treated. Ouyang Sheng was speechless. Xiaoya went downstairs. The ambulance had not arrived yet. She pulled Xia Qian and was about to call a taxi when she saw a familiar silver light at the exit of the parking lot. Bugatti? Zhuang Yiqian's car? It was not that she had sharp eyes, but Zhuang Yiqian did not need to be restrained like Jiangzhao. He was not frugal when it came to things. His car was the same. Rich young men in Haiqing liked to buy limited edition cars to show off their wealth. Xiaoya often said that Zhuang Yiqian liked to show off. He obviously wanted to show off, but he insisted that he was low-key. If he really wanted to keep a low profile, he should learn from Jiangzhao and park a 4 to 5 million yuan sports car in a garage. Occasionally he would drive the car assigned to him. For personal matters, he would drive a black Audi A8 that cost about 2 million yuan. He should not care about the color, the model, the style, and what was popular. However, when did Zhuang Yiqian pay attention to these things? Although he said he wanted to keep a low profile, when he spent money and bought things, he was like Qin Fian. He was as high profile as he could be. That's right, the woman kept a low profile. She had never gone out with him for a proper meal. That was only for her. Every time she held a press conference, he would insist on bringing a woman to support her. It was as if he was afraid that she did not know about his taste and charm. Xiaoya stomped her foot. She was angry. She had to find a man and get married. I don't want to fool around with him anymore. Zhuang Yiqian, who was sitting in the car, had a ruthless look on his face. He leaned his head back and pressed his forehead. Uncle Li, turn off Qiu Xiaoya's custom-made products. Let her have some debts. Young master? Li Yong was so shocked that he almost stepped on the brakes. He thought he had heard wrongly. Zhuang Yiqian could be said to be brought up by him. He had never taken advantage of a woman, let alone treat her unfairly. How could he take back what he had given out? He must have heard wrongly. Really? She doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. She thinks that just because she has some ability she can offend anyone and is not afraid of anyone. She is too complacent and does not know how to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. This is not good for her. She must be taught a lesson. Otherwise she might even lose her life like today. This lesson should be enough for her to reflect on. But isn't everything fine now? She came out unscathed. If it was someone else, no one would dare to speak to Zhuang Yiqian like this. But this person was Li Yong. He was someone whom Zhuang Yiqian respected. So, it was not strange for him to explain patiently. That's because Jiangzhao had gone and I also know about it. So she should be fine today. Otherwise, with Ouyang Sheng's arrogant and conceited character, how can he not teach his enemy a lesson when he knows about it? If that's the case, Ouyang Sheng will also close down her shop. She might not have any debts, but it's hard to say if she will be hurt. Li Yong immediately understood. I will get it done. Thank you for your hard work. Yi'er was worried. Although she was calm when Jiangzhao left, she thought about him going to the hospital and Ouyang Yan losing her child. What will happen? Jiangzhao said that Ouyang Sheng should have gone to the hospital. Would his father-in-law whip him again this time? Beauty novel Hongcha 866. Chapter 654. Yi'er reached out and grabbed the sweater over her heart. She paced back and forth anxiously in the office, feeling exceptionally frustrated. When she exhaled, she had already grabbed her thin jacket, opened the office door and ran out. Yi'er asked Xiaoya where Ouyang Yan was staying. She repeatedly assured Xiaoya that she wasn't going to cause trouble, but she was worried that Jiangzhao would be alone. Only then did Xiaoya tell her the address. When Yi'er entered the ward, Jiangzhao's face darkened. What are you doing here? I came to take a look. Yi'er was a little timid. When she saw Ouyang Sheng, she knew that she was a burden and that she wasn't needed here. But when she saw that Jiangzhao was unharmed, she felt relieved. Not long after Yi'er arrived, Ouyang Yan woke up. Jiangzhao thought about it. With Yi'er around, at least she could see his attitude towards Ouyang Yan clearly. She wouldn't let her imagination run wild in the future. Jiangzhao could only have one wife. He would only have one for the rest of his life. He would never divorce her. His children would never become the children of a single-parent family. He held Yi'er's hand as they stood in the ward. Ouyang Sheng looked at Jiangzhao's indifferent expression and felt annoyed. He called the nurse over to put a pillow under Ouyang Yan's head. Yi'er was a little nervous, but she thought that this was also a good thing. Now that they had gotten into trouble, it was their first time facing it together. No matter what punishment Jiang Zhao would receive, she would stay by his side and watch over him. Looking at Ouyang Yan's pale face, Yi Er couldn't bear it. But this thought only lasted for a moment. If Ouyang Yan hadn't plotted against Jiang Zhao and provoked her, how could Jiang Zhao be so ruthless? Serves him right. When these two words suddenly popped up in Yi Er's mind, she was dumbfounded. It turned out that he was so vicious. The Ouyang Yan deserved it, but Jiang Zhao suffered. Ouyang Sheng patted Ouyang Yan's shoulder with heartache and hatred. Yun, tell Grandpa what happened. Grandpa will fight to the death for you. Jiang Zhao patted the back of Yi Er's hand and said calmly, today. Ouyang Yan suddenly looked at Ouyang Sheng and opened her mouth, interrupting Jiang Zhao. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito's, but it was still heard clearly by everyone in the quiet environment. Grandfather. Yes, I was careless. I went to Yunye's place today to look for trouble, but she didn't show up. I lost my temper and bumped into the table. That's why I ended up like this. Yi Er was stunned. Jiang Zhao was astonished. Ouyang Sheng was annoyed. Why did you go look for her for no reason? It's my fault. What happened to the child? Ouyang Sheng just remembered that he still didn't know. He was afraid that Jiang Zhao would hear him, so he whispered into Ouyang Yan's ear. Ouyang Yan slowly closed her eyes and let out a long sigh. Don't ask any more, Grandpa. Jiang Zhao and Yi Er's feelings were so complicated that they couldn't get over it. Logically, Ouyang Yan should hate them to death, but now she was trying to absolve Jiang Zhao. As long as Ouyang Sheng knew that Jiang Zhao was the one who did it, he would definitely sue Jiang Zhao. Yi Er thought that Ouyang Yan loved Jiang Zhao, so she must be worried that Jiang Zhao would go to jail, even if Jiang Zhao had killed her child. How strong was this kind of love? Yi Er bit her lip. She scolded herself 1,000,000 times in her heart for her earlier viciousness. Jiang Zhao didn't feel good. He didn't feel guilty at first, but now his heart was filled with guilt. He didn't want to owe this favor. He wanted to speak up, but Yi Er pinched him and looked at him pleadingly. Ouyang Yan looked up at Yi Er and Jiang Zhao indifferently. Her emotions didn't fluctuate. Both of you can go out. I want some peace and quiet. I don't want to say anything. I hate to hear anyone talk now. Ouyang Sheng said, both of you can go out. Jiang Zhao pulled Yi Er out of the room. As soon as they went out, Ouyang Yan's clear and weak eyes suddenly became fierce. Her hands clenched into fists under the quilt. She didn't want the child in her stomach. She lost it, then so be it. But she hated Jiang Zhao for being so heartless. She knew that Jiang Zhao must have thought that the child in her stomach could be his, so he did this to her. So it turned out that the fact that she was pregnant with his child made him want to kill her. She swore. She would never let this adulterous couple off. Ouyang Yan came back to her senses. She looked at Ouyang Sheng, who had a suspicious look on his face. She looked ashamed and smiled gently. Grandpa, don't ask me any more, okay? Ouyang Sheng's face turned cold. Yun, there were outsiders just now, so I couldn't embarrass you. Now you're asking Grandpa to stop asking? Whose child is it? How did it come about? Ouyang Sheng doted on his granddaughter like his life depended on it. But he couldn't help but get angry at such an embarrassing matter. Anyway, I'll insist that it's Jiang Zhao's. Ouyang Yan closed her eyes and rubbed her temples impatiently. Yun, you've changed a lot in the past few months. Ouyang Sheng couldn't help but feel disappointed. His granddaughter wasn't like this in the past. Now, even her expression is starting to change. Ouyang Yan opened her eyes and laughed at herself. Slowly, she said weakly, Grandpa, I think it's good to be like this now. In the past, I had to do my best because I'm a member of the family Ouyang. I had to be dignified and generous. I was the role model of all the young ladies of the wealthy families. I had to be reserved and polite because I was an outstanding seedling in the eyes of the elders of the aristocratic families. After sighing softly, her eyes were filled with fatigue. I also know that Jiang Zhao is good. When I left High City, I already knew that Jiang Zhao was good. I'm not blind. Among the young masters of the aristocratic families in High City, there are only a handful who are as outstanding as Jiang Zhao. How many of them can compare to him in terms of upbringing and personal qualities? I didn't want to, but I was too tired from being tied up at that time, so I wanted to go out and release myself. If I made a scene in High City, what would others think of the family Ouyang? What would Jiang Zhao think of me then? I didn't waste my time away from home for the past few years. At least I know that High City is better than Jiang Zhao. I'm still young and can get married and have children immediately. At this point, she stretched out her hand from under the blanket and covered her mouth as she sobbed. When she sobbed, her speech was choppy and incoherent. From time to time, her tone would become heavier to express her dissatisfaction and helplessness. When I came back, I even bought baby's breath and lilacs. They symbolized how deeply I loved him. I wanted to express my goodwill to him, but later I found out that he was a block of wood and didn't understand the language of flowers at all. I should have known that he didn't understand these things. I said I'd stay in his apartment and he'd let me stay there, but I didn't expect him to move away. I thought that maybe he just wanted to take advantage of me. He's arrogant to begin with. After all these years he should have been uncomfortable. But how many days has it been? That Yunyi jumped out. Grandpa, I thought that he just wanted to take advantage of me and put on airs in front of me. I thought that he was waiting for me to apologize to him, but I thought that how could I apologize to him? He loves me. After interacting with me for a while, he won't be able to hold it in anymore and will come back to look for me to get back together with him. Ouyang raised her head and roared. Her wrist was placed on her eyes, and her tears instantly wet the pillow. She muttered and repeated, "Oh, Yunyi. Yunyi is so shameless. She found out about my existence and jumped out to propose." Grandpa, have you ever seen such a shameless woman? Proposing to a man? She forced Jianghu to that extent in front of so many people. If she hadn't jumped out like this, would Jianghu have married her? It's impossible. Even if he wanted to marry her, he would have waited for Yun Hongwei's case to be over. It would have been at least a year or two. If that was the case, wouldn't I have had a chance if I noticed something amiss in a year or two? My chances were all snatched away by Yunyi. It's all her fault. I hate her to death. Ouyang Sheng couldn't help but feel sad. He reached out his old hand to wipe away the tears on Ouyang Yan's face. Yunyun, Grandpa told you a long time ago. Grandpa, I know. If I had known that Jianghu liked a shameless person like Yunyi, I wouldn't have left Haiqing to go crazy. I would have just become a shameless lunatic like Yunyi. Yunyun, Grandpa, don't ask me about the child. Anyway, I insist that it's Jianghu's. Then can Jianghu admit to this matter? I insist that it's his. He can't do anything about it. Ouyang Yan gritted her teeth. She would bribe the doctor. It was something that couldn't be done without money. On the way back to the office, Jianghu received a call from Xiaoya. Xiaoya didn't mean to call Jianghu. Instead, she called Yi first. Yi told her about Ouyang Yan's reaction in the hospital and felt a little upset. Xiaoya understood Yi a little. After all, she was young and easily moved. Moreover, Yi lacked love and care. She would remember anyone who treated her well. Yi was a woman who knew how to be grateful. At this juncture, Ouyang Yan's exoneration of Jianghu had undoubtedly tipped the scales in Yi's heart. However, a bystander could see things clearly. If this matter had happened to her, she might have been moved as well. However, Xiaoya was surprisingly cold-blooded at this moment. Especially when she thought of Ouyang Sheng's face, she got angry. She felt that there wasn't a single good person in that nest. Yi couldn't make sense of it. She felt that she should give Jianghu a heads-up. She told him about what had happened in the hospital just now. The embryo and other things had been arranged, but she was worried that there might be a change in the situation. It was best to keep an eye on it. Jianghu was slightly doubtful. Jianghu, don't be silly. You and Yi are the ones involved. Anyone would feel guilty. After all, you were the one who lost the child. No matter if it's you or Yi, you'll definitely feel even more guilty if Ouyang Yan doesn't pursue the matter. Even if you didn't feel guilty at the start, I'm afraid you'll feel that you've let her down. But let me tell you, the child isn't yours, which is why she's so soft. When the time comes, there won't be any evidence left. Xiaoya felt that other than making a lot of money, she had also heard a lot of gossip. The secrets of those rich and powerful families were especially pleasant to hear. What kind of methods, what kind of opportunities, what kind of thoughts, what kind of strategies? It was as if she was watching a melodramatic 8 o'clock TV drama every day. It was as if she had done something bad and suddenly changed for the better. It might not necessarily be because she had discovered her conscience, but it might become worse. She had to remind the young couple of this problem. Therefore, she had to remind this couple that it was very necessary to sound the alarm. After all, Jianghu was a man. He hardened his heart faster than a woman. Just now, he had let his emotions get the better of him. Intuitively, he felt that Ouyang Yan wouldn't pursue the matter anymore. Now that he thought about it carefully, he felt a little uneasy. Actually, regardless of whether they pursued the matter or not, this matter would be troublesome in the future. If they pursued the matter, it would be fine if it wasn't his child, but what if it was? If they didn't pursue the matter, then it could be said that it was 100% his child. Both choices had risks, but after all, he trusted his own judgment more. The DNA test had to be done. This concerned his future life, and he didn't want Yi to have a knot in her heart. Okay, I will keep an eye on this matter. After Jianghu agreed, he sighed and said, Xiaoya, I'll have to trouble you. It's no trouble at all. I'm just free. Just take good care of Yi'er. Night came early in February in Haiqing. After dinner, the Qin family called and requested that Jiang Zhao and Yi'er return to the mansion. Yi'er felt uneasy. After that, the two of them pretended to be relaxed as they entered the mansion. Both of them knew that nothing good would happen if they were asked to return to the mansion after dinner. They entered the main hall of the proper Chinese-style central room. Qin Rongfang was sitting at the head of the main hall with a blank expression. And when Ouyang Xing sat at the head of the first guest seat, Yi'er thought to himself, so this matter still came knocking on our door. Yi'er held onto Jiang Zhao's hand and refused to let go. It was rare for Qin Zhen to attend such a debating event. Last time she knew that Jiang Liqing was going to blow up, so she didn't come to watch. It was useless even if she did, and she couldn't stop him. Today she didn't ask Jiang Liqing to come and went herself. Actually, Jiang Liqing didn't want to come either. After the previous beating, just thinking about it in the middle of the night made his heart ache. His son was almost 30 years old, but he still whipped him in the saddle in front of so many people. When he saw his daughter-in-law crying like that, he also felt heartache. He regretted it so much that his intestines were twisted together. Ouyang Xing went straight to the point and said seriously, Jiang Zhao, Yunyun said that the child is yours. Yi'er suddenly hugged Jiang Zhao's arm with a frightened expression. Qin Zhen saw all of this. She knew that this girl was usually proper, but one look at her eyes and she could tell that she was very cunning and strange. At this moment she was afraid. She was just afraid. There was no other impurity in her eyes. On the other hand, her son didn't seem to be flustered. Qin Zhen sat on the first seat opposite Ouyang Xing. The two of them faced each other. Logically speaking, Qin Zhen was a junior. She shouldn't be sitting on the same seat as Ouyang Xing, but she also felt a weight in her heart. To be honest, no one had dared to bully her son like this in her life. Jiang Zhao was brought to Haiqing by her when he was 14 years old. Who had schemed against him like this? If she really indulged her son like the wives of other wealthy families, Jiang Zhao would have slept with more than 100 women by now. It wouldn't be the family Ouyang's turn to make irresponsible remarks. Not to mention that everyone knew that they had been set up, even if they really slept with him, so what? Marry? It also depended on whether she, as his mother, was willing or not. When Ouyang Yen stood in front of her and objected to Yi'er marrying into the family, she felt that even if Yi'er's family background wasn't compatible, she still couldn't accept Ouyang Yen. A good horse wouldn't turn back to graze on old grass, not to mention that this grass had legs and ran on its own. Child? What child? She didn't understand. Qin Zhen glared at Jiang Zhao and Yi'er, not allowing them to speak. At this moment she looked at Ouyang Sheng and beamed with joy. She was clearly a social expert. Her voice sounded respectful and a little teasing. Fourth master, you have to be gentler when you speak. My daughter-in-law is pregnant. No matter what, the child in her stomach is the Jiang family's legitimate young master or little Mississippi. If she's scared to death, that would be a big deal. Come and see. Xinwu 799. Chapter 655. Qin Zhen was a strong woman who had been through hundreds of battles. Although her marriage was not a happy one, her ex-husband did not remarry all these years and had been staying in High City. It was said that he had feelings for the army and liked this military region because he had many comrades. However, in the past 10 years, the Qin family knew that Jiang Liqing had many opportunities to be transferred to a bigger military region. Some things did not need to be said out loud. Everyone knew. Therefore, Qin Zhen was not only proud of her successful career, but also of two other things. There was a man waiting for her. She could be proud. She was very satisfied with her son. He was the second son of the Jiang family in Jiang district, the grandson of old Master Qin in High City, the son of Commander Jiang in the military region, and the son of the chairman of Golden Investment. These were the titles that Jiang Zhao had before he was born into society. Later, more and more people would introduce Qin Zhen to others. This was Jiang Zhao's mother, Qin Zhen. When she first heard others introduce her like this, she felt that her eyes were sore. She felt that she had not lived her life in vain. Her son had become successful. She had always been proud, including when she divorced Jiang Liqing and now when Ouyang Xing came to her door to ask her son to take responsibility. As a businessman, face was just a decoration. Qin Zhen sat opposite Ouyang Xing. After saying this, she felt happy. Ouyang Xing snorted and turned to Qin Rongfang, who was sitting in the main seat. Old Qin, I'm afraid this matter can't be delayed any longer. Qin Rongfang and Ouyang Xing had been friends for decades. It could not be compared to the life-and-death friendship with Xi Jintian and old Master Jiang, but they had done many mutually beneficial business deals. He knew that it was not appropriate for him to say what Qin could say. Even if old Master Jiang was sitting here, he would be the same as him. Sometimes, when a woman stepped forward, things were always easier to solve than a man. Qin Rongfang turned his head and handed the teacup in his hand to Uncle Wu as if he did not hear him. He said unhappily, "Old Wu, what kind of weather is this? How can I drink the tea when it's cold? Go and change it to a hot one." Ouyang Sheng felt that he had been defeated. Qin reached out to Yi Er and waved. She smiled and said, "Daughter-in-law, come to Mom." Yi Er was dazed for a moment. "Mom?" Qin's attitude towards her had always been lukewarm. Yi Er knew the reason behind this. It was impossible for such an aristocratic family to not mind one's birth. Although she was lukewarm, she had never deliberately made things difficult for her. When she was being attacked from both sides, her mother-in-law warmly called herself Mother. Yi Er recalled how Zhou was so angry that her father was still lying in the hospital. Tears flowed out of her eyes. Jiang Zhao gave Yi Er a push, and Yi Er walked over to Qin. Qin was still seated. Other than Qin Rongfang, who was pretending to be a fool, Qin had the dignified aura of a head of the family. However, her speech was still very appropriate. Her voice was cheerful and heartwarming. She reached out to hold Yi Er's hand and nestled it in her palm. She was smiling more than angry, and there was even some doting. "In my opinion, our family's Zhao Zhao is the best. Daughter-in-law, do you agree?" Yi Er bit her lip and nodded obediently. Qin took a piece of tissue from the small table between the guest seats. She raised her head and stretched out her arm to wipe the tears that had just rolled out of Yi Er's eyes. "As your mother, I didn't bully you. Don't cry. If you cry, Zhao Zhao will think that I pinched you and will make trouble with me." After saying this, she should have glanced at Jiang Zhao. However, Qin glanced at Ouyang Sheng. The more Qin looked at Ouyang Sheng's uncomfortable expression, the more she felt comfortable. Mom, Jiang Zhao won't think that way. Yi Er was still young after all. She was afraid that her mother-in-law would misunderstand that she had instigated her husband. She would never have thought that Qin was trying to provoke Ouyang Sheng. "Daughter-in-law, you were the one who begged to marry our family's Zhao Zhao back then." Qin kept calling her daughter-in-law, but usually she would call her Yi Er. At this time she was begging to be married, and her tone was especially heavy. Ouyang Sheng snorted disdainfully. Yi Er lowered her head even more. At this time Jiang Zhao also stopped standing. He smiled a little happily and sat down on the guest seat next to Qin. The servant came over to help Jiang Zhao pour tea. "You begged to marry our family's Zhao Zhao. You must think that he is a good man and someone you can rely on, right?" "Mom, you're right." Yi Er's voice was very soft and very soft. She seemed very embarrassed and very touched. "In my opinion, your conditions are not very good." As soon as Qin said this, Jiang Zhao coughed violently. Yi Er's face immediately turned very red. Ouyang Sheng smiled proudly. Qin Rongfang was very good at pretending to be a fool. When drinking tea, it was either cold or hot. It was either that the tea leaves were not chosen well or that the water used was not good enough. Qin burst out laughing. "But your figure is really good. I took a look. Among the daughters of the wealthy families in High City, your figure is the best. You're not the tallest, but you're not short either. Wear a pair of beautiful high heels and match our Zhao Zhao's height." Qin slapped her thigh and laughed with satisfaction. She raised her voice and said, "What a match." Yi Er sighed. Fortunately, her figure was not bad. Her mother-in-law liked her. She was so scared that she was about to sweat. "Actually, I think that among the daughters of the wealthy families in High City, the one with the best face is the girl from the Shin family. She's going to be a disaster in the future." "Yes, the one with the most character is the girl that family Min brought back a few years ago. Oh my god, it's amazing. It's so spicy that I can't take it." Qin rambled on for a long time. She said so much that Yi Er felt inferior. However, she did not say which of the Ouyang Yen was the best. Qin looked at Yi Er and paused. She said, "Daughter-in-law, look, people say that men are either animals or animals. Why didn't our Zhao Zhao marry the girl from the Shin family? Why didn't he wait to marry the girl from family Min? This thing is about fate, isn't it?" Yi Er was still obedient. She nodded. "Yes, Mom. When fate exists, you have to cherish it. Although you beg to marry our Zhao Zhao, and our Zhao Zhao dotes on you now, if you don't cherish this fate, you will pass. The most changeable thing in this world is a person's heart, especially a man's heart. I don't want to put in a good word for my son. Zhao Zhao has the bad habits that all men have. He's not special, nor is he an exception. There's no man who doesn't like beautiful women. There's always something about you that attracts him visually. I don't believe that he saw the kindness in you first, but whether he will open his heart to you in the future depends on whether you work hard. If you don't cherish him with his qualities, there will be other women who can attract him more than you to enter his life and beg to marry him. If you let go and miss this opportunity, he will live with another woman in the future. Even if you put up a brave front or trample your face under your feet and beg him to turn back, he won't look at you. I understand my son's temper. You can't give him such a chance, do you understand? Yi'er stared at her mother-in-law in a daze. This woman, this shrewd woman, was reminding her, sounding the alarm for her, and hinting at Ouyang Sheng with every word. Didn't her mother-in-law's words refer to the relationship between her, Ouyang Yen, and Jiang Zhao? Ouyang Yen missed it. Jiang Zhao was living with her now. Ouyang Yen used all kinds of shameless means to get Jiang Zhao again, but Jiang Zhao wouldn't turn back. Her mother-in-law was cold-blooded and ruthless in her analysis of Jiang Zhao, making Jiang Zhao cold-blooded and ruthless, but it also made her feel motivated. Her mother-in-law was supporting her to protect her marriage. The most changeable thing was a person's heart, especially a man's heart. When it came to marriage, no one was more arrogant and no one had more power. It had to be cherished. It was only now that Yi'er understood what was going on. Sister Zhen, if you say this about me, she won't believe me in the future. Jiang Zhao was really speechless. These women's words were really harsh. They simply described him as Chen Shimi. Whether she believes you or not, it's up to her. If she doesn't believe you, it's useless no matter how much you say. If she believes you, she can tell from your words and actions whether you treat her well. If she's a heartless woman who can't see the good in you and still chooses to leave you, if you don't want such a woman, your mother won't recognize her. Qin Jun looked at Jiang Zhao for the first half of her words, and looked at Ouyang Sheng for the second half. Then she smiled meaningfully. Ouyang Sheng gripped the hard mahogany armrest tightly. The decoration of the main hall was too retro. The high seats were like those of the rich families in the past, offering incense for the positions of heaven, earth, monarch, parents and teachers. The smell of incense ashes and candles in the main hall was complex and intertwined. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi'er's back was not as stiff as before, and his heart relaxed a little. He knew that his mother was not scolding Yi'er, but he was still worried that Yi'er would think too much. Ouyang Sheng only felt that the women of the Jiang family and the Qin family were powerful. People said that men should prosper, but both times, it was the women of these two families who stood out to argue with him. Last time it was old Madame Jiang. This time, Qin Zhen and the men of the Jiang and Qin families were all dead, so they called the women out to talk. They made him, a man, talk about trivial matters with these women. Qin Zhen, by right you call me fourth uncle. During this time you called me fourth master and Jiang Zhao called me fourth master. If the Jiang and Qin families want to mess up the seniority, I don't want to interfere, but the child is miscarried. Qin Zhen stroked Yi'er's abdomen and looked at Ouyang Sheng's eyes with a worried expression. She said unhappily, "Fourth uncle, I called you fourth uncle. As an elder, how can you be so vicious? My daughter-in-law is still young, and the ancestors of the Qin family are worshipped in this main hall. I don't like to hear you curse my daughter-in-law. I'm already so old and I'm going to hold a grandson soon. You, how did we offend you?" She wanted to accuse him. Ouyang Sheng wanted to slap this noble mahogany chair. If the person talking to him today was Jiang Liqing or Qin Rongfang, it would be a contest between men, women. They did not speak according to common sense. They were indeed villains. Songshu 566. Chapter 656. The child is Jiang Zhao's. You can't just ignore this matter. In the past, you could say that you didn't have an explanation and used your power to bully others, but don't even think about it now. Jiang Zhao thought about it. Qiu Xiaoya was indeed smarter than a fox. Her little fox must have changed to become more and more stupid. He didn't say anything. He just confronted this matter with a very cold expression. Ouyang Sheng was well known in Haiqing for doting on his granddaughter. However, Qin Rongfang's attitude of doting on his grandson was also a unique example in Haiqing. For a wealthy family like this, the main family name was very important. How could the grandson be treated the same as the grandson of the first wife? That was impossible, but Jiang Zhao could. Ever since he came to Haiqing, Qin Rongfang was in charge of everything, no matter big or small. He didn't leave anything to the grandson of the first wife. This was the status that Qin Rongfang gave Jiang Zhao. It also showed the friendship between the Jiang and Qin families. However, at this moment, Qin Rongfang wasn't protecting his granddaughter like Ouyang Sheng. He either pretended to be stupid and didn't respond. Just like now, he slapped the table beside him and shouted at Jiang Zhao, "Look at you! You still have the cheek to sit here." Jiang Zhao shrugged and said indifferently, "Why don't I go in first?" Qin Rongfang slapped the table again. "How dare you? Yer was shocked. To be honest, they were both from wealthy families. Her family's wealthy family was too small and didn't have many connections. Moreover, her family's acting skills weren't as good as these people's. She couldn't tell if it was real or fake. She was completely immersed in the act. She was afraid that her grandfather would immediately call her father-in-law and ask him to come back and whip Jianghu. Her mother-in-law held her hand. She could clearly feel the force tightening and loosening. The comforting sensation on the back of her hand indicated that she shouldn't move. Then don't leave. Why are you so fierce? I don't owe you money. Jianghu smiled. Shameless. Qin Rongfang shouted. It was rare for Ouyang Sheng to see Qin Rongfang angry. This person was famous for being kind and courteous, and he was good at handling interpersonal relationships. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to hold the position of chairman of the Chamber of Commerce for so many years. There were some matters in Sea City that could only be solved by Qin Rongfang. He wasn't as hot-tempered as most people, and he left some leeway when doing things. When he treated people reasonably, others wouldn't dare to be rude to him. Now that he looked like he wanted to eat someone, he looked very serious. Ouyang Sheng breathed a sigh of relief. Shame on you. Now that they're here to ask you for compensation, you're trying to hide. Ouyang Sheng felt that something was amiss. Compensation? What compensation? Let me tell you, Jianghu, don't think that just because I dote on you, don't think that you can ignore the family rules and ancestral teachings just because your surname is Jiang and not Qin. Let me tell you, half of the blood in your body is your mother's. You are also a member of the Qin family. Even if you don't want to acknowledge it, the Jiang family will never acknowledge a grandson like you. If you do something wrong, you have to admit it. If you have to pay for it, you have to pay for it. Right. Where do you want to hide? A real man isn't afraid of doing something wrong, but you have to correct your mistakes. You can't keep making mistakes. Ouyang Sheng was finally enraged. Was this whole family trying to make him look bad? Qin Rongfang. You old man. Ouyang Sheng slammed the table and stood up. He was burning with anger. After Qin Rongfang finished scolding Jianghu, he turned to look at Ouyang Sheng and put on a gentle demeanor. Oh, Ouyang, sit down. I couldn't help it and scolded him. Sit down, sit down. Yeer's heart was thumping, sometimes fast and sometimes slow. She felt that her heart wasn't her own. She couldn't stand such a scene. She was really frightened. She was afraid of any elder's words. She kept shouting in her heart, Dad, don't come over, don't come over. In Yeer's heart, as long as Jiang Liqing didn't appear today, he could scold and kneel however he wanted. Ouyang Sheng saw the change in Qin Rongfang's expression and sat down. Fourth brother, actually this matter, sigh. Ouyang Sheng let out a long sigh, looking particularly distressed and sincere. Fourth brother, I've lived to this age and I feel that it's been too long. I can't say that I haven't made any progress. Those news a few years ago worried me so much. Look at all the big families in Haiqing. Which one of them is like me? My grandson is a homosexual. You don't even know how I survived the past few years. You've also seen Fei Yan's looks. I'm afraid that those girls in Haiqing aren't as good as him. He's so tall and he's standing there, how can he be a homosexual? If it were the other big families in Haiqing who would be able to stand this? Forget it. If I say this, others will think that I'm cursing their grandson to be gay. Qin Rongfang let out another long sigh. Ouyang Sheng was a little moved. Old Qin, haven't you gotten through all these things? Don't think about it anymore. There's no use thinking about it. Those years when the news first came out, I didn't even dare to step out of the house. Fourth brother. Qin Rongfang held his forehead and sighed again and again. He sighed sincerely. Those years when you guys asked me to eat together and gather together, I felt ashamed. Really, when I met an acquaintance, the kind-hearted ones would know to be considerate. But some people couldn't. They purposely asked me and I didn't even know how to answer. Those days I couldn't sleep well day and night. If it were other big families who would be able to stand it, they would have been angered to death. Sai, let's not talk about it anymore. Although Qin Rongfang kept saying, Sai, let's not talk about it anymore. Sai, forget it. But he kept repeating it. If it were other big families who would be able to stand it. My life is cheap, but I really got through it. Qin Rongfang looked at Ouyang Sheng. Ouyang Sheng hurriedly advised, Old Qin, why do you have to say that about yourself? Sai, you said that my Qin family only has this one seedling. How did I get through all this? In the past, when I went out, I was afraid that people would ask me. I was afraid that people would say that Qin Rongfang's eldest grandson was gay. But now, when a girl looks at my grandson a few more times, I have to kindly remind her, my grandson is gay. Girl, don't like him. If you like him, it'll be tough. Look at me as a grandfather. I've even become a manager. Now that people ask me about Fian, I don't feel uncomfortable at all. If he's gay then he's gay. So what? When he's going to carry on the Qin family's bloodline, we'll just do artificial insemination or IVF. IVF is enough. Isn't everything else the same? Ouyang Xing said, that's right. You're right to think like that. Don't always think of a dead end. That's right. People just can't stand it when they encounter unforeseen events. Just like after Jianghu and your family's Yen girl had that thing. At first, I also felt that it would damage my prestige and image. I was afraid that if it spread out, what would I do? Now that I think about it, no matter how big this matter is, can it be bigger than Fian being gay? Don't you think so? Old Fourth? Ouyang Xing obviously didn't know that he had been played in such a roundabout way. This old man. Qin Rongfang, you schemed against me. Qin Rongfang's expression was as indifferent as an immortal's, and his voice was modest and polite. It's not a scheme. If you ask me, this matter is really not that big. Whether the child is Jiang Zhao's or not, I won't respond to this question. I don't know if they have intimate relations and I don't know about Yen girl's pregnancy. But, no matter what the truth is, Yen girl had a miscarriage. Our Qin family and family Ouyang are family friends. Who wants you to visit? Qin Rongfang didn't care about Ouyang Sheng's bad temper. AI, what do you think Zhao Zhao should do about this matter? The most important thing is that Zhao Zhao and Yi Yata have a good relationship now. As elders, we all hope that our children and grandchildren will be happy. Yi Yatu is pregnant, and the child in her stomach is legitimate. Tell me, as elders, should we be biased? Yi Yatu is pregnant, and the child in her stomach is legitimate. Which side? Old Fourth, put yourself in his shoes. If it were you, would you be biased? Which side? Qin Rongfang, let me tell you, don't think that you can be like this just because you're sitting in the first seat of the Qin family. Qin Rongfang straightened his body and added a sense of dignity. I don't want to be like this either. We're all doing business and harmony brings wealth. I also hope that we can live in harmony with family Ouyang for the rest of our lives, but Old Fourth, harmony brings wealth is only one of them. There's also another thing called family harmony and prosperity. In this family, no matter if it's Jiang or Qin, no one is willing to break up. Lai Qing and Qin Zhen's example, whether it's the Jiang family or the Qin family, no one wants to see a second example. Therefore, we've been teaching every child that marriage is a big deal. Playing and marriage are two different things. Qin Rongfang, you're saying things like this now. If your family's Fei Yu ends up like my family's Yunyun, how can you still say that? Jiang Zhao's and Qin Zhen's faces suddenly turned pale. Not good, this was clearly touching the old man's reverse scale. Qin Rongfang's face crumbled. His, Qin Rongfang's, granddaughter could not be discredited by others. That Fei Yin was willing to degrade himself and bring a bad reputation. On the other hand, Fei Yu was obedient and sensible. Even the least cultured servants in the family would never talk behind Fei Yu's back. How could his granddaughter be compared to Ouyang Yan? Besides, could a girl's reputation be compared to a man's reputation like Fei Yan's? Originally, he was thirsty and wanted to take a sip of tea to quench his thirst. But at this time he was unable to calm his anger. He stood up abruptly, the veins on his forehead throbbing. He raised the teacup in his hand and smashed it on the ground. The porcelain shards flew everywhere and the tea frothed. Qin Rongfang had always treated people well and rarely spoke ill of a tiger. But at this time he looked at Qin Rongfang with an ashen face and said angrily, "If my family's Fei Yu dares to do such a despicable and shameless thing, I'll go to the hospital myself. I'll personally take her to the hospital to get rid of her. She dares to destroy other people's families, I'll break her legs. She still has the face to come knocking and ask others to take responsibility? I, Qin Rongfang, can never afford to lose this face in this lifetime." Jiang Zhao hurriedly stood up and strode over to support Qin Rongfang, patting his back. Qin Rongfang took a deep breath and glared at Ouyang Sheng, whose expression had changed greatly. He continued to say angrily, "Lao Si, this is the only time. If you dare to discredit my Fei Yu in front of me again, don't blame me." No. Read. Feelings. Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 657. It was rare for Qin Rongfang to be so ruthless. Jiang Zhao knew that this was not the time to add fuel to the fire. Although Qin Zhen was still sitting in her original position and did not nervously support Qin Rongfang like Jiang Zhao, the smug expression on her face had disappeared and was replaced by a gloomy expression. However, at this time she could not move. She could not let Ouyang Sheng sense her family's nervousness. At this time, Ouyang Sheng was not only angry, but also felt that his self-esteem had been greatly impacted. Although the Qin family was the most powerful family in Haiqing, because of Qin Rongfang's gentle attitude, he had never shown any fear in front of him. His self-esteem had swelled and strengthened in the process. In addition, the family Ouyang's prestige was outside, so he had never had any intention of being afraid of Qin Rongfang. However, at this time there were 6 people in this house and one of them was a servant. Not only were the 4 of them working together to deal with him, but Qin Rongfang actually said that he did not care about old ties. This was a hurdle that Ouyang Sheng could not cross. He suddenly felt that if he sat down now, he would never be able to raise his head in front of Qin Rongfang. However, if he continued to fight force with force, how could Qin Rongfang's methods be as gentle as they seemed on the surface? However, at this time, blood rushed to his brain rapidly. Qin Rongfang, you and I are irreconcilable. I'll keep you company. Qin Rongfang's answer was sonorous and forceful. He put his forearm on Jiang Zhao's raised arm and said to Uncle Wu, who had been standing at the side, "Old Wu, see the guest out." Ouyang Sheng was stunned from this short change of events. It was as if he had been in the human world a second ago and had gone to hell the next second. Irreconcilable with Haiqing's Qin family? He had actually pushed him to such a position. However, his face was bigger than the sky. He raised his head arrogantly, snorted, and turned to leave. After watching Ouyang Sheng leave, Qin Zhen let go of Yi Er's hand. The 2 of them went to support the old master, afraid that something bad would happen to him from anger. Dad, Qin Zhen brushed away Jiang Zhao's hand and helped Qin Rongfang back to the main seat. Are you better? Jiang Zhao and Yi Er stepped aside. Good? Qin Rongfang glared at Qin Zhen. Humph, I see that you're not angry at all. Dad, what are you talking about? Qin Zhen sighed. He was really an old child. He was throwing a tantrum now. Qin Rongfang snorted. Am I wrong? You and Yu Jing are childhood friends. The 2 of you have been good sisters since young. Even when Fian and Feiyu were born, she made the 2 children call you Big Aunt. They are not allowed to call you Aunt. You are her maternal family. Now that she and the child's father are abroad, she entrusted the child to you. How can you sit still when others talk about her daughter like that? Qin Zhen laughed when she saw Qin Rongfang's expression. Dad, what are you saying? Yu Jing likes to enjoy life, so she went abroad with her younger brother to spend some time alone. She left the children at home and asked me to take care of them. I should be grateful that the 2 children call me Aunt instead of Aunt. Is there a difference? Why not? Then if they call me Aunt, shouldn't I represent the Qin family to take good care of the 2 children? Qin Rongfang was stunned for a moment. There seemed to be no difference. So, have you taken good care of them? When that old thing was talking about Feiyu like that, you just sat there without moving. Qin Zhen smiled apologetically. Didn't I see Dad going into battle? When Dad goes into battle, there are thousands of troops and horses. I'm just a young girl. I don't stand out even if I go into battle. Zhao Zhao was led astray by you. Dad, you can't say things like that. Your daughter-in-law nodded and said that Jiang Zhao is good. Umph. She originally thought that she would be beaten up when she returned to the Qin residence. After a hair-raising moment, she saw her grandfather and mother-in-law bickering. This scene was very heartwarming. Yi Er tilted her head and saw Jiang Zhao staring at her. Their eyes met and they suddenly smiled at each other. After Jiang Zhao and Yi Er left the Qin residence, they went to the hospital to visit Yunhongwei. When they left the hospital, it was 11:30 p.m. The bridge across the river allowed one to see the mesmerizing scenery of the night. The river was full of pearls and jewels, and the riverbank was full of colorful lights. Jiang Zhao drove very slowly. Are you going to watch a movie? Are there any good movies? I don't know. I'll watch whatever there is. Jiang Zhao was in a good mood. From Yi Er's side she could see the smile on his face. It was natural and gorgeous, revealing a relaxed and relieved look. Let's go home. I want to sleep early. The dance studio just opened not long ago and there are many things to do every day. I want to go early tomorrow. Okay. After saying that they were going home and saying their goal, Jiang Zhao still drove very slowly. It seemed that he was doing it on purpose. He wanted to say something but it seemed that he couldn't open his mouth. Yi Er was a little impatient. Jiang Zhao, you're driving so slowly. Don't you have to go to work tomorrow? Oh. From time to time, Jiang Zhao would glance at Yi Er, who was sitting in the passenger's seat. Yi Er would always feel uncomfortable from the seemingly unintentional but hot gaze on her. Jiang Zhao? Ah. Jiang Zhao answered awkwardly. Do you have something to say? No. What could I possibly have to say? You clearly have something to say. Tell me, what is it? Her hands were on the steering wheel. At this moment, she raised her right hand and clenched it into a half fist. She placed it on her lips and coughed. Yunyi, Mom wants us to lead a good life today. Do you understand? Lead a good life, lead a good life. As Jiang Zhao thought about it, his emotions surged. Yes, I understand. Let's lead a good life. Let's forget about the Ouyang matter. Yi'er nodded. She had heard her mother-in-law's words. Yunyi, what I mean is, lead a good life. I don't think we should sleep in separate rooms. Do you understand? Jiang Zhao felt his face heat up. He suddenly realized that he had clearly said something extremely thick-skinned, but at this moment, his skin was surprisingly thin. He thought of an adjective. Could it be that he was as thin as a cicada's wings? Otherwise, why would it be so hot? It was so hot that his ears were burning. His neck felt like it had been burned by chili seeds. It was burning hot. He wished he could jump into the river right now. Ah! Yi'er was stunned for a moment. She swallowed her saliva and saw that Jiang Zhao was only looking at the road ahead. His face was slightly red. Her own face also turned red. Oh no, oh no. When they were together, they had not even blushed from embarrassment. Now, the two of them had become so pure and innocent? Or could it be that they were not pure and innocent to begin with, so a simple sentence suddenly led to other meanings and caused the two of them to misunderstand in the end? They became embarrassed the moment they misunderstood? Then their faces turned red? Jiang Zhao, isn't it good to sleep in separate rooms? Yi'er felt that if she said right now, okay, don't sleep in separate rooms. Let's sleep together. If she said that, she would definitely be teased. After all, she was a woman. When necessary, she should be more reserved. What's good about it? Jiang Zhao was the first to lose his composure. He raised his voice unhappily. Yi'er waited for Jiang Zhao to continue. Jiang Zhao thought about it. He was a man. He just wanted to sleep with his wife. What was wrong with that? Why couldn't he say it out loud? Did he become stupid after these few months of abstinence? What do you mean by, oh? Jiang Zhao was sulking in his heart, so he spoke harshly. Jiang Zhao, how dare you yell at me? Humph. Jiang Zhao stepped on the accelerator. With the help of the engine, the car quickly took off on the road. After Jiang Zhao snorted, he didn't say another word to Yi'er. He kept a cold expression on his face. He didn't want to talk to her. What was the point of talking to her? Once he did, the two of them would pretend to be reserved and blush. After he got out of the car, he went to the front passenger seat to open the door. After Yi'er got out of the car, Jiang Zhao smiled and closed the door. He pressed the remote lock and the car was locked. He raised his arm and propped it in front of Yi'er. Come, hold your husband's arm. Let's go home. Yi'er looked at Jiang Zhao's serious expression and burst into laughter. As he wished, she held his arm and left the garage. After they entered the elevator, the door closed. The light was as bright as a mirror. Jiang Zhao looked at the image of the two of them on the door. Yunyi, Mom said we're really compatible. What do you think? Yi'er also looked at the two of them on the door. Many things had happened today, so the two of them weren't as neat and tidy as they were when they went out in the morning. Yi'er realized that her hair was a little messy. Because of her young age, her skin didn't look haggard, but her eyes revealed fatigue. Jiang Zhao was the same. Although he was in a well-ironed suit and looked as handsome as usual, he couldn't hide his fatigue. Only the smile on his face was exceptionally pleasing to the eye. Her mother-in-law said that if they stood together and she wore a pair of beautiful high heels, they would be really compatible. But she wasn't wearing high heels today. Were they really compatible? His eyes were overflowing with happiness and satisfaction. She was infected and smiled along with him. We're really compatible. The voice that came out of her heart was always so moving and mesmerizing. Ding. A sound was heard. In the next moment, the elevator door opened. The man and woman in the elevator were hugging each other. The woman stood on her tiptoes and hooked her arm around the man's neck. The man lowered his head and hugged the woman's waist. Their lips rubbed against each other and their teeth melted. The large hand on the woman's waist slowly lifted her jacket and burrowed into her clothes. The moment he touched the soft skin that he hadn't felt in a long time, the man's Adam's apple moved and he groaned uncontrollably. Yi'er suddenly felt a ball of fire run over her body and burn someone to death. Her body went limp and she snuggled into the man's arms. Her head was still tilted up, receiving the rain of kisses. They were so close together that they didn't give each other a chance to breathe. Even if she breathed out softly, it could only be poured into the man's stomach and turned into a stronger force. It swept across the soft tongue and stole the unique fragrance that belonged to the woman. The elevator door closed again. The two of them, who were inseparable, were a little impatient. They wanted to get out of this space immediately, but neither of them could bear to let go of the other person's lips and tongue. The elevator door opened again. The man bent down slightly and reached his hands from behind the woman. He burrowed between her legs and spread them apart. He scooped her up and placed her on his waist, carrying her out of the elevator. Welfare Xinwu 799.